What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I got to have a conversation with you guys about Teach Henley because you see how the sun is hitting me? This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Teach Henley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Teach Henley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Teach Henley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later.
What's up, guys? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the good, great fathers that's out there. I gotta say good fathers because some of y'all ain't in y'all's kids' lives. Shout out to everybody that's on the panel. Shout out to all the dads that are on the panel. We appreciate you guys. Shout out to the new people. If you are new here, please hit the like button. It is free. Make sure you subscribe to the Anton Daniels channel and his other platforms that he has. Make sure we see you chat, be nice. And we do appreciate you guys here every Monday with us. You guys are loyal. But welcome to the people on the panel. How are you guys doing this evening?
I'm good.
We're doing good.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Peace, peace.
Okay, we just gonna celebrate that Father's Day. Ain't no mamas. We celebrated Mama's Day because they a single mother. We don't do that here. Well, I don't do that. Okay, I seen a couple of posts and I'm like, no, that's not fair. But to start this off, I don't know. Did you guys see the Cam Newton and Michelle's interview? Did y'all see little clips? I saw a couple little clips and I found one that was even better. Or crying.
Yeah, I saw MTR react to it, so I watched that, and then he started going in, so I had to go find the actual full thing. So
Okay, cool. Okay, bet. So let's watch this little clip of her talking about the Black families. Okay.
In Atlanta all this time and then going to Nashville where it's predominantly white. One, they go home at 5 and 6 o'clock when they're producing because they go home to their families. Being a country singer, if you are a singer in country music, you're a man. If you are not married, it is not respected. Family is respected in country music in that space. But in our space, we are singing about side chicks. We are glorifying a lot of women. That's not what happens in Nashville. You can't call a woman a bitch, a hoe in Nashville because they'll never even listen to your music and your professional career will suffer. At what point in the Black community do our men create real homes? Black men to really step up for Black women and create families.
When I saw that, I thought it was pretty funny. But she did drop some stuff. Can the Black men create real homes? Okay. First, she was comparing it to country. And I kind of get it, though. I don't really hear country songs bashing women, bashing men, talking vulgarness and stuff like that, right? So can the Black men create real homes too? And then also in the podcast, they were talking about 2-parent households and all of that. And, you know, Cam Newton also said, he talked about his relationship, and he said basically a man and a woman being in the household, not really the dynamics of a 2-parent household where they're together, but just having a male and a woman's presence. So what's your intake on that? Anybody can go first.
I definitely think she's trying to appease her audience that's not listening to her in the country space. I don't agree with that. I think that if you do listen to country music, you would know that there's certain artists that have like sexually explicit songs. They still do sexual innuendos in their music. So I don't 100% agree with that because I listen to country music too, and there's definitely like some. I wouldn't say like I understand she's with like the raunchiness, I guess, but I wouldn't say that correlation makes sense to me.
I do feel like she has valid points. I mean, but I do feel like it just goes off of the cultural norm that's around in the media sense, right? So our norm is, clubbing and doing all that ratchet stuff as a community. It is. That's what we normalize. We normalize the sexy reds. We normalize all of these things. So I feel like, I mean, she has some valid points.
What is it valid about it with regard to the overall message as far as like black men need to be more responsible for creating families?
Nothing. Nothing.
Well, in that regard, I do, but I don't agree in the regard that black men are the responsible cases. Because I do believe that it takes a woman to choose a good black man in order for a family to succeed. But I do understand as far as the music cultural aspect of everything.
Why is it always on a woman? I'm mad confused right now.
All right, I'm not gonna let this go too far because at the
Okay.
end of the day, he just said she has to choose. If you have the ability to choose, you have the responsibility. So how
Men don't.
you gonna so if the woman has the ability to choose and she's responsible, and then they're the responsible ones for creating 80% of the divorces, like you're responsible for that. You can't have the choice and then negate responsibility. That those things don't separate. That's the biggest issue.
Well,
Let,
wait. Before we get into that, let's hold off because we see the sexy reds, we see the glorillas, we see the Meg Thee Stallions, we see them actually being some of the most popular people within the culture. So if we talk about glorifying it, before we even get to the relationship aspect of it, if we talk about glorifying it, and let's be clear, they really live in a music. If you seeing what's happening with Meg Thee Stallion, they really live in this. You know what I'm saying? So if we really want to look at it holistically, even from a cultural perspective of what we promote within our music, why don't we mention them? Because she see one of the things she was saying was like, oh no, country music, you wouldn't get no play. I haven't really heard no K Michelle songs that was just wholesome and awesome. And I haven't heard any of our artists that are females that's really carrying the torch for what is so great. I mean, I hear the bust your windows out your car and hotels and all of that stuff. I don't hear anybody that from a woman's perspective that's carrying the culture forward and trying to advocate for strong families. So I'm really trying to understand before we even start to hold accountability from a relationship perspective, why don't we mention those artists? Jess, I see you confused up there.
I don't think.
But the part I want to touch on is the relationship aspect of
Okay.
it. So
Okay.
I'm gonna
So
step
we'll
aside.
go to the relationship.
Back
We'll
to
proceed on that part. Okay, go ahead, baby. Go ahead. You can touch on the relationship aspect of it.
Oh, okay, my bad. I didn't know if you were saying I could go now. But
No,
yeah, I'm not confused. And before we say that the onus is on men to create strong families, I'm gonna say yes. But then also before the Daniel lights come after me, we also need to talk about the women too. So but we're not going to say that it's solely the women and they choose, right? Last time I checked, it took more than just a woman to procreate and have a baby. Last time I checked, it took an egg and a sperm to make something. So it's not just on a woman to choose. Now I will say this, as it relates to relationships and creating strong families, is both of them. I do think that we as a black community don't value marriage, and we don't value relationships, and we don't value strong families. For the life of me, I cannot understand why we allow people to procreate. And I'm speaking for a woman because I'm a woman. I can never understand why women will allow a man to procreate with them, but not marry them. There is no way on God's green earth that I'm allowing a man to procreate with me if he's not even willing to walk me down the aisle and make me his wife.
Depends on
So
how much money
that
he
is an
got.
issue that we need to address.
Depends
And
on how much money he got.
then also, as it relates to marriage, a lot of times in Black relationships, I feel like we try to marry for love, and sometimes you need to grow in love, meaning that sometimes you need to do what's best, even though you may not love that man right off the rip. That's something you can grow to do. So
Jess,
yes,
are you
it is on men, because men are the head and women are the neck, but at the same time, both people need to get it together. Stop letting him shoot the club up, and you stop wanting that woman raw. But I'm gonna just let it go right there.
So Jess, with that being said, and we still talking about women though, because if the men ain't there, we are creating the men that are doing these things. And if we the ones divorcing and leaving at the highest rate, then the accountability still on us.
But
We're
you know what?
creating the men, we're creating the men that we complain about.
You know, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, what Gorilla say? If he don't want the baby, don't keep it. So I probably didn't quote that word for word.
Girl, not you
but,
quoting the exact rappers we're talking about.
but on the same token,
Terrible.
I could never understand why a woman would bring a baby. One, why she put herself in a situation, but why would you bring a baby into this world that the man don't want? Why would you allow yourself to be a single mother? Like these things, I'm mad confused about it. I could never understand.
Well, usually they don't find out he don't want it till after the fact.
Well, y'all should have been married. Period.
Well, we got to start all the way back before we talking about a baby. But no, it's women. It's women.
Yeah.
Made up my mind.
So
it's us.
The fact that you even like just
if we're not
quoted
even
that
having the
artist,
baby, then it's not even an issue no more.
The problem,
we're saying
the
that, but
issue
even
is, I'm sorry, Cam, go ahead, Cam.
my bad. I was just saying, like, Jess, you're literally quoting the exact rappers and then backdoor saying that we need to have a mentality that's opposite of the rappers that y'all are listening to on an everyday basis. Glorilla and Sexy Red aren't getting married. So to listen to that and put that into your spirit, but then tell somebody else to even like,
I just took one quote that was relevant.
I know, but I'm saying like I personally don't listen to her, so it's like to pull the quote out, even like in funny conversation, it's like proving a point. Like it is in your everyday life, even
It's
subconscious.
ingrained.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
even
like it's
subconsciously,
ingrained.
like even you just said it like as a joke, just to put into the conversation, but it's like it's subconsciously in you to say something like that, even though their narrative does not push getting married.
But is it a joke when even the president Kamala Harris brought them on stage to represent her in at an office? So my whole thing is it's not a joke, because that is the representation that is out here, right? These are the women that is being presented and representing the masses of the Black women. It is the wigs and the nails and the lashes and the booty shaking, and that is the representation of the Black woman today. You know what I'm saying? And that is the culture of it.
Oh, white women don't wear wigs and makeup and nails.
I'm not saying that it doesn't, but that's our culture, though. But that's our culture. We're known for that. It's not that nobody else does
They
it. It's just
got
that
it
we're
from
known for
somewhere.
it.
Yeah, they got it from us. But the issue,
no, we got it from them.
No, we're not addressing the actual issue. The issue is not about what we should be doing after the fact. We need to start being proactive. We're looking in retrospect too much, and we need to being 10 steps ahead. Instead of us being like, oh, why would we lay down with a man and have a baby for him, get rid of the baby, et cetera, that's counterproductive. We need to be, hey, how about we vet this person and see if this is someone that I can even be friends with first. Let me see if this is someone that I actually like. Let me see how much chemistry we have. And then go from there, instead of it being like, oh, AD has to be an option or any of that. Like, none of that should even be in our minds to be drilling into people, trying to say like, oh, this is the way to prevent us from being a baby mama or a baby daddy. The way to prevent it is by accurately vetting people and seeing, does this fit or does this not fit? And instead of it being like what you were saying, Jess, you growing in love, that's been the issue. People have been in so much survival mode that people are literally picking and choosing who's the best suitor to just provide. Nobody's thinking about anything else. Do they actually want, like them? Can they be in their presence long enough to be pleasant enough for that person to still want to be with you and not bring in something else where it's like, oh, that woman or that man starts cheating on you, and then that's a whole issue, and then you start having other things going on. Like, there's so many other things that people are not addressing, and that is the confusion. It's not confusing to say, is it the man's job or the woman's job? The confusing part is, why isn't anyone else thinking about how we can be 10 steps ahead?
Kamaya, you gotta be. We're not strategically. Women need to be strategically getting chosen. Like, you hear people say date with purpose and all that. No, and I say chosen because first of all, we shouldn't be out there looking for a man. We need to be working on ourselves. And when it's time, but he's not going to send these women what they want, because we're not strategizing, even with getting our credit together, getting our finances together. Like, we don't have to be rich, but a man also don't want that burden either. And we got a lot of issues that we need to work on that we have been ignoring because we've been passing the buck and blaming men for everything.
But do men have multiple kids? Do men not have issues too? Do men not have multiple baby mamas? I'm just confused how it always ties down.
Because I'm saying that, well, I already said we're the one we're raising them.
We have more children as Black women. We have more out of wedlock children than the men do anyway.
Correct.
So even if the even for people. No. It's not to say that it's not the man's fault, but to understand that as the woman, we're the ones that are going to experience the pregnancy and be going through these things. One would think that you would be more hyper vigilant to make sure you don't get pregnant because of the fact that you're the one at the end of the day that's going to have to, share the brunt of the baby and everything else because you're the woman. So it's basically saying, as the woman, you need to be more proactive in your body so that you don't allow yourself to be in a situation that you don't want to be in for the rest of your life.
So is that kind of productive to allow a woman to get rid of the baby? Is that also not a viable option as well? I will say this.
No.
I am pro-choice.
No, that's absolutely not.
But why bring a baby into poverty? Why bring a baby into a single parent household? Why bring a baby into
let her finish. Let her finish.
To me, that really does not make sense. And as a woman, I can proudly speak, right? There's so many preventative ways. I can never understood how a woman just ends up pregnant, right? There's apps, there's birth control. There's so many different things that you could do to track your cycle. Use protection. Stop letting this man shoot the club up. There's so many different ways that a woman can do to prevent a pregnancy. So I'm just confused as to how, when a woman does become pregnant and the situation isn't ideal, how we're saying that that's something that's wrong with that.
Why does that embryo have to suffer because of what she did?
But let me finish this out though. And one mic. This is one of the reasons why I don't have children right now, is because I'm not allowing a man to procreate with me or have a baby with me if he's not made me his wife. I have not had any abortions. I have not had any children that I've sent to heaven, and I have not been pregnant, and I will not be until a man has made me his wife. I can probably say that, and I can speak to this situation because so many ways to skin a cat. Exactly. So now,
why we can't promote adoption?
Hold on.
Promote adoption?
Let me go ahead and just speak to this, because me and you, we're on two completely different sides of the spectrum, right? You've never had to deal with any of that, right? I've also never had to deal with ABs. I've never dealt with none of that. What I did was I've actually taken accountability for the times that I laid down, busted wide open, for any of the men and got pregnant for, I didn't say, hey, let me get rid of this child because I'm not in the best situation. I didn't say, hey, let me kill this life. I didn't say none of that. I said, you know what? I'm going to be a woman. I'm going to put my big girl panties on and I'm going to do the damn best that I need to do. And what I did was I ended up having 3 children. One of them that was actually in a marriage. That marriage did not go well. 2 of them children was out of wedlock. My last 3 was in wedlock. So my 2 that wedlock, I decided as a woman, this is my responsibility. This is me taking accountability. It was no, huh?
How many kids you got?
I have 6 altogether, and only 2 of them was out of wedlock. So with this whole thing with you saying that women should just be getting rid of it, no, that's where your lessons come into play. Because women, like how I was, are hard. No, women are hard-headed. And y'all need y'all damn lessons. And you've been avoiding it, and I'm proud of you. I'm very happy. But guess what? There's other women that's not like you that need those heavy lessons of knowing how to take care of somebody, knowing how to get it out of the mud, and knowing how to put yourself in a better position where you can be valuable to a man to be able to get a ring on your finger. You don't want to keep going on through your life having these hard lessons and just keep busting it open, and then you want to say abortion, 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 abortion. That's crazy. That's irresponsible. That's insane. You need to do what you need to do. Pick up the bag you done dropped and keep it pushing. It's no reason to sit there and then try to judge people for the ones that don't get abortions. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
Now, can I say something real quick? Now, while I am pro-life, I don't 100% agree, Carmaya, only on the point of like that you need the baby to learn a lesson. That's the only thing.
No, not the baby. No, not saying that you need. Wait, what are you saying?
I guess I heard. I guess what I interpreted you saying was like they should keep the baby in the under the guise of like you need to learn the lesson, so that keeping the child to learn the lesson. But I'm saying even being pro-life, I think we need to have that conversation pre-baby, so that you're not using the baby as like why you got your life together, or like the the purpose basically. Like I don't think that pressure should be on the child for like this is your reason to do better and be better. I think that should be there pre-baby.
Yeah, because
right, but that's what I was. But I am for that as well, Cam. But what I'm saying is, you can't go retrospect and be like, oh my God, I have a baby now. What am I going to do? Oh, I can't have a baby right now. Oh, let me go to this clinic and get rid of the baby. You know what I mean? Like you take the steps.
Give me a second. Let me mine this out because we're in a lot of different places right now. Jess, you said you are pro-choice.
Yes.
Why?
Ideally, do I want a baby to be deceased off of the irresponsible? And I'm not saying that every abortion is due to people being irresponsible, right? There could be medical reasons, a whole bunch of different reasons, incest, great. There could be a lot of different reasons why it could become necessary. However, what I'm saying is that if we're going to use an example of like the Black community and repetitive cycles of poverty, the child not being brought into a stable household, I've seen children, and I got to phrase this the right way. I've seen children in situations that it is so saddening. The living conditions that they are in is so sad. Some of them have no food. Some of them are homeless. They're going from shelter to shelter. Their quality of life is trash. And I'm not saying because you become pregnant and you're not married, that's an automatic abortion. However, if you know that you're on your last negative penny, if you know that you have no shelter for your child, if you know that this is, your third time being pregnant and you just don't got it to bring another child into this world, and you already got 2 baby daddies, like, this is a situation where I think you need to have a tough conversation with yourself and say, is bringing a child into this situation going to be for the best? And
Absolutely.
unfortunately, I would say in certain situations, within a certain time frame, do what you need to do. Some people may agree with that, some people don't, but I'm on always be for somebody having a choice in a certain situation. And I hate
The
seeing
choice
cycles.
after they made the bad decision.
Correct.
Can I ask a question, just as a pro-choice? Why the pro-choicers never advocate for adoption?
Because I've seen children and I know people personally who have been in the system and they do not get treated no better.
You got private adoptions, you got all type of ways to adopt.
I hear you, but that's not always the case for everyone. And I've seen and I know people who have been in situations where they have been adopted in their life
play God.
They've been in group homes. They've also not had any food. They've also been victims of SA. Like their living situation also has not been good.
And some of those children have grown up to be wonderful, amazing adults.
I'm not negating what
you cannot. That's no.
You're not. I'm not negating what you're saying. And their adoption is a choice. However, in certain situations, that still does not create an ideal or better situation than what the child was going to be in anyway.
Then
now, to be fair, though,
hear me out, which is why I believe in preventative measures. So this doesn't even become a situation or option, right?
Well, just talk about that part. Let's not even talk about that part.
Those things also happen in biological families too, though. So some of those arguments are kind of, it's kind of hard to make that argument, in my opinion, just because it's like you can't take out struggle, poverty, sexual assault, and crimes and things like that inside of biological families. And a lot of the times you don't even know about those things happening. So I wouldn't say like if that was like an argument as to why someone would, be like, this is why I'm pro-choice, in my opinion, I'd be like, well, that can happen no matter if they're adopted, they're with their biological parent, that's not really
there's reasons though too that I talked about. There could be medical reasons. There could be something wrong with the child. There could be
but majority of the time
majority
of the time it's elective though.
It's literally less than 1% of what you're talking about.
Hold on. Let's back up for a minute because I'm trying to understand. So the core of the conversation was based off of K. Michelle saying that guys, and she was using Cam Newton as an example, need to step up and create better families. And then she cited other cultures and other music and whatever like that as an example as to why that should be, right? And I'm assuming that the majority of y'all actually probably agree with her, right? I'm assuming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you agree with her, Devin?
Because at the end of the day, I think what the real issue is not because of the culture. Because at the end of the day, I think we have degenerate behavior in all sides of the culture, white people, black people, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's the fact that tell me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm just throwing it out here. I feel like certain people, sometimes black women, or just people in general, see black men a certain way, and if they don't fit that certain demographic of person, then it's like, okay, I just got to go white now, and I got to go that white, like be with that white person. When you could definitely find a black person that has those same morals, those same values in the black community, but you refuse.
You said black women will say, "I got to go be with the white man."
Well, that's ultimately what she was saying in her video. She's like she was forced to pretty much go to the white side because she just she hated.
I'm not tripping off of that because black men go and date white women, and we don't trip off of that either. So that's not a problem for me.
No, that's not. I mean, no, but at the same time, it's like she's saying it's black men's fault, like, but not really saying that she's talking to the wrong black men. I think that's the part where she's missing, where she's refusing to talk to the black men that would fit her desired outcome.
Yeah, I know, but that's not the question that I was going to pose, right?
Can I say this? Can I say I feel like she's wrong in the fact that it's not the black man, because how can I feel like it's simple. How can a black man make a family to a woman that has multiple baby daddies? Most times you have a woman that have multiple baby daddies. So you want me, because I'm your last baby daddy, to be the good father and make us a family. It's kind of hard when you have other kids that are not biologically mine to then stabilize, a good family or whatever the case may be. So it's more women pregnant and having kids than there are men making kids.
So
So
here's my question though, but not all of y'all pretty much agree with family, I'm assuming though, right? Is there anybody that disagrees with the concept, regardless of whose fault it is? Because we can go back to the fault part in a minute, but I'm just trying to understand something. Because I want to understand where y'all at. Is there anybody disagrees with the idea that you should marry the person? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Disagree with the idea of getting married within themselves. Like all of y'all, I'm assuming that all of y'all desire to be married. Is there anybody that don't desire to be married? Let's do it that way. Okay, cool. So I'm assuming that now that we there. All right. Here's my question. Why do y'all want to get married?
I think there's
Well,
a
I've
good.
already been married.
Well,
So
for
I
those,
kind of,
okay, so all right.
but I'm not now, but now, so that's why I'm so passionate about this, because the whole this idea and the feminist thing and how we were raised as women, when I look back now and the more I learn, that ruined my marriage. That's the reason I'm not married.
Okay, all right. So why do y'all want to get married?
I can answer that. One, I want to have children, and I want to have children with my husband, not my baby daddy. And two, I want to do life with someone. I want to have someone that that we could just do life together. My business partner, my help me, the person that I can, be
You know the
soft
woman is the helpmeet, right?
with, huh?
You know the woman is the helpmeet, right?
That's what I'm saying. I want to be that to my husband.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Maybe I didn't phrase that right, but yes, I want to be soft, I want to be feminine, I want to be kept, I want to be protected, but I also want to provide these things as far as like being feminine and soft and creating a household for my husband, right? Like I said, the husband is the head, but I feel like the woman is the neck, and I feel like they move together. Do we have different roles? Yes. I don't necessarily think one is more important than the other, but I think it's like yin and yang and how we go together. But I just want to do life with my person, and I just want to be like that's me, and we're together and we have this family. Can I go into more depth and more detail? Of course, but
I'm
in
just
like
trying to understand in a general sense, what y'all think the
nobody
right
wants
solution looks like. What do y'all actually think that looks like? And the reason that I say that is because, we often at times talk about what's wrong, and we all a lot of times we address the issues, and I'm all for that too. But I'm not even sure if people really understand what the purpose of marriage is. I don't
I
know if
think that we
everybody really
lost the
understands.
value of what we don't know. We didn't know. I didn't know what marriage was. I had never, until I understood that it's leadership, submission, like a yin and yang. But women have to understand, we get triggered by these words so much, like submission, authority, dominant. We get triggered by those words, but that's just what it is. It's a covering. And I've always believed a woman needed a covering. We gotta have a covering. So if we don't have a covering marriage, it's the women. As far as I'm concerned, and I can only speak from a woman, from my experience and what I've heard around the data, anecdotal, and it's us. The way we raised, the things we're taught, little sayings like, you got to find a man that love you more than you love him, and all these little innuendos, or just make sure you're able to be taken care of, but at the same time, they're not teaching you how to actually be a wife and cook and clean and all these wonderful things.
at its core, marriage is a business arrangement. And
See,
people may
no,
It's a
this is why I say you can
no.
grow into love. And last time I checked, there are a lot of arranged marriages that last longer than the ones who just so in love and head over heels. So I mean, I feel like there's a business component to marriage as well. People may say, oh, it's a piece of paper, or oh, this or that, but like there's a lot of different things that you have to balance that are business related, whether y'all have a family business, whether it's finances, whether it's a lot of different things. Your whole life gets tied to that person. So whatever you got going on, like now y'all both got that going on.
I think that mentality.
it's a
I think.
covenant.
I
It's
think
not
that.
a
I think that
business.
whole. I think the whole business arrangement brought in the degenerate behavior within the whole aspect of marriage. Because in the day, it was at the church level The biggest issue is when the church started becoming part of the government, and the government started, dictating the marriage laws and stuff like that. And then you had all different communities wanting to adopt marriage through the government's sense, and then it adulterated the whole purpose of it. I think that's
okay. So let me give you a little bit of an education. There's no way that the church could not in some way integrate itself with the government when the majority of the laws by which you abide by in this country was forged by the church. The whole idea of what you can and can't do, the foundation of it was based off of laws and the rules that was governed in the church.
I agree with you. I 100% agree with you.
So how can't they, when you also have to factor in that some of the ways in which we evaluate if a person is able to get a pension, or if you can carry over somebody else if they pass away, or if you in a hospital and a person is able to pull a plug, or whether or not this person takes priority over this person, you had to have that structure, which is largely based off of marriage in the church.
I mean, but that being said, it's like you have that structure, but then also the issue is now that I 100% agree with what you're saying, but I think the issue comes in is when all the the stuff that isn't biblical starts getting implemented into it.
Right.
At the end of the day, just like it.
Like
I think
what?
we lose the idea of companionship. I think we lose the idea of like procreation, like the whole family structure, and and I think ultimately, and then also the degeneracy part of it is just like
wait. You're jumping around. Jumping around. Like what other parts?
What do you mean?
You said there's other parts.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going into. Is like I was just naming a whole list of stuff, and especially like the sexual intimacy part.
Slow down. Take your time. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just like the sexual part, where it's like, just stop that part of it, where we have these rules and regulations of how, we go into sex, but it like that laid out how sex was supposed to be handled.
How was it supposed to be handled in the word in the Bible?
I mean, when it comes to like adultery, and then just who
that don't have anything to do with sexuality. That has everything to do with structure, as far as you coveting another man's wife and stuff. Adultery. Do you know what adultery is?
I'm gonna say no.
So why would you say that if you don't know what it is then?
I mean, I feel like I know what it is. I mean, but I'm sure you're.
So what do you think it is? What do you think it is?
I'm not being trying to be contentious about it. I'm just like, if you got,
we're not arguing. What do you think adultery is?
I think
without looking it up.
What?
Without looking it up. What do you think adultery is?
Ultimately, I feel like adultery is just pretty much sleeping outside, having sex outside of the covenant of your marriage.
That's called fornication. Adultery is sleeping with another man's wife.
Okay.
So what do you disagree with about as far as adultery? And the church's role in making sure that doesn't happen in the greater society, especially when you're married.
Say that one more time.
What don't you agree with? You said that the church added other things which play a role in what happens in society. Why don't you agree with the church saying that you shouldn't be an adulterer and sleeping with another man's wife?
I mean, no, I agree with that should be a rule. Like, I agree with that.
You use that as an example, though.
No, I was listing things off for the purpose of marriage, just like to stop that from happening.
Correct. You don't want that to happen if a person gets married, right?
Correct.
So why would you mention that as one of the things that's an issue? That the church
I don't think it's an issue. I think that's what the purpose of marriage is. But I feel like my other point that I said before that was a lot of these other things that are degenerate, that's not, what the church says is being pushed in and okay under the marriage aspect of life.
Interesting. I don't think that most people want to be married. And if they do, I don't think that most people want to be married for the right reasons. I think that marriage today and popular culture, especially amongst women, is the equivalent of getting a big ring. It's a status symbol. I think that a lot of times they do it for validation, they do it for other women. I don't think that most people are in it for the right reasons, which is one of the reasons why it's so difficult for people to A, get married, to B, find the right person, and to C, stay married. I don't think it really matters. I think it's when you listen to K Michelle, she's putting the onus on men, right? The problem with that is that it also takes two people to be successfully married, A. And then the second thing is that you gotta remove the incentives for women to breaking up their families. If you're not gonna look at it holistically and change family court laws, if you're not gonna look at it holistically and start to address women, single mother households, if you're and address them raising the men that they're saying that they need expectations from in order to get married. K Michelle is not married. You know what I'm saying? She stated in that interview that she, what I'm saying, knew men in her family and her father and all of this stuff. So why didn't it leap onto you? Why does she choose a career of visibility and singing and BBLs and all of this stuff instead of choosing a strong family household like she's saying that she's advocating for men to do? Because you can't choose the basketball player and you can't choose the football player and you can't choose the rapper and entertainer and you can't live the life and then cry on a podcast saying, oh man, men really need to step it up and pick it up. Pick up what? You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't make sense to me. The responsibility that they're putting on men to then pick up the pieces for women that are broken. I don't think that we should pick up women that are broken. I think that we should leave them broken and step over them. I'm not gonna ever advocate for a man to go and be one with something that's broken. You can't be one with something that's broken. I think that most of these women out here are broken. They are absolutely destroyed. They don't even know they right from they left. They hoping, they wishing, they looking for a savior. They not looking for no man to marry them. They looking for a guy to save them. That's the honest to God truth. I honestly, in my heart, after listening and talking to and having conversations with and seeing what's happening in these streets, I believe that women are looking for a savior. They're not looking for a husband. And maybe they conflating the two, but it doesn't make sense to me.
So let me ask you this,
And,
Anton.
and a business partner. Like,
No, you
how do
can't
you
partner.
say,
How is it a
what do you-
partnership with me if I'm the one that really generates all of the revenue and take care of you? I don't need.
exactly, you're the covering. You're the glory that the woman receives, like the covering that it says in Corinthians. But it's like just
So
to
why
say
would I
and
cover
not
something that's
acknowledge.
broken? I don't
Correct.
want to protect. Listen, I don't want
And
to
then,
protect.
and then you men are more willing. Women are not willing. They're not as willing as men are. Men want the families. They want to be able to see their children. They want to have all of this cultivated, but are just not willing and they're not allowing it. And they have so many expectations that they can't even meet. And they're upset about meeting every single day.
I don't believe that women have high expectations no more. I think they lying. That's my thing. I think that most of these women are lying online, acting like, bruh, all you got to do is look at some of the dudes that they wind up getting themselves into relationships with, and you be like, what the fuck just happened? I thought she had all of these great. I think they lying. I think they'll take anything. They'll take anything and anyone that is even remotely representative of what a fraction of what they think that they want.
But you know why?
If they could get it and they can't get it, they can't
You
get it.
know why, Anton? The reason why is because it's extremely easy for the women to just leave. They can just up and leave whenever they're ready
That ain't why.
because
That ain't why no more.
it's a business. You can
That's not
leave
why.
a business. You can hop
You know
business
why?
to business whenever you want to. You can start a new one whenever you want to. But when you're in the actual covenant, there ain't no hopping, code switching. There's none of that going on. When you're actually in something, it's real and you need to stay with it.
Last time I checked, women were staying absolutely too long. Last time I checked, for a woman to get up and go, I feel like a woman is way more tolerant than men are. And we can even use infidelity as being an example of one of them. For a woman to leave, women aren't leaving a whole lot of good men. There's a reason why she left. And
I'm sorry, according to scripture,
I don't agree with that.
Women
women.
leave good men
and that's
all
Anton
the
okay.
time.
Anton literally just said.
If
There's a reason they left, but that don't make it a valid reason.
I gotta do one mic.
If it gets to a point where a woman is actually leaving, that woman has endured.
False.
That woman has, and we're not
cap.
just talking about no old booty
That's
shaking, low level grade woman. We're talking about a woman who's fully vested.
Jess, you know what you're gonna see?
Yes,
You know what
you're
I'm starting to see
literally
in my
talking.
algorithm? Hold on, Jess. You know what I'm starting to see in my algorithm? And I'm gonna do like 2 review videos on it just for you tomorrow. I'm starting to see women that say being a good man isn't enough. And this is the honest to God truth. They're saying that he has to be great. He has to give flowers. He has to do this. He got to do that. He got to do all of these expectations. They're saying that the trend is leaving a man. I wonder if I could just pull it up right now.
But Anton, I know what you're
The
saying.
trend is leaving a man.
Just because they don't cheat, that's enough.
So you're familiar with the trend then, right?
I am familiar with it because it came across my TL today.
So why are you saying that
That's
wait. If you're familiar with the trend and you know that I'm not capping and it's actually a real thing and it's trending, why are you saying that women are not leaving good men?
Because there are men out there who think just because they don't cheat that's enough. So for an example, women and men need different things, right? So for an example, I'm not a man. I can't speak for a man, but I'm just going to hypothesize that a man wants to be nurtured, right? He wants to have a woman to submit to him. He would love to come home to a hot meal. He would love to come home to a woman who not doing all this in his ear. But on the flip side of that, some women, I'm not gonna say all, but some women like romance. Some women like to be taken out on dates. Some women like goddamn flowers. Like, is it that hard for you to stop home and get me some $5 flowers from Kroger?
Let me ask you a question, Jess.
It's like,
Hold on.
And that's all I'm asking.
Let me ask you a question. What do we like in return?
I just said that, y'all. I can hypothesize. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I can speak for men, but from my perspective, men of a woman who can throw that thing from left to right, a woman who not all in they grill, yelling, screaming, cussing, fussing, a woman who can do what is told, a woman who can cook a nice meal from time to time, a woman who makes him feel valued, who speaks life into him. I'm just giving you some things that I think that men would like. Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, I'll stand on it. You're a man, you can speak for me.
Listen, man. Mima and them, they understood that they was regular bitches. And I know that y'all don't like me using the word. I use it interchangeably with women. I'm sorry, that's just who I am. They understood that they was just regular hoes. And the Mima and them, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, they look better than y'all. Like they were fitted than y'all. No, they looked way better than y'all. They carried themselves better than y'all. They didn't even need BBLs, and they was way more shapely than y'all.
Longer hair.
Let me be honest with you. Mima and them, if you go look back at Mima and them's pictures when they was 19, 20, 21, 22, they was shitting on y'all as a culture. Not y'all. I'm not talking about y'all on the panel. I'm telling you that they were shitting on y'all as a culture. They looked way better than y'all. They communicated better than y'all. And guess what? They were happy with. They understood that even though they looked better than y'all, even though they looked better than y'all,
they weren't happy.
Even though they looked better than y'all.
How do you know?
They were hoes.
Even though they looked better than y'all, they understood that they was regular fucking women. And they didn't trip. And somehow, some way they stayed connected. They kept their families together. And I'm not saying that they was perfect. Nobody is saying that they had every single thing together, but they did way better than y'all.
Anton, I highly disagree, and we're gonna say this. I'm sure me more than hit people up the head a couple times with that cast iron skillet.
Cast
We
iron
ain't
Nah,
gonna
skillet.
talk about the
that's
time
the
when
shit
she
that
burned
was
them with the
promoted
fish
to
grease.
that was
And
promoted
to a lot
to
of
all
women put
green.
up with stuff because they weren't financially able to not put up with it. If you talk to women from Memo's age, they were miserable and they wanted to kill Peepaw 20 million times, and they was happy when he finally died. I'm not
I'm
sure if you've
sorry.
seen the movie
I'm
No,
sorry,
Kingdom
Jess.
Come,
let me tell you the
You
but
loud
difference
and
between
Meemaw was
wrong.
happy when Peepaw died.
Let me
She
tell you
couldn't
the
wait.
difference between Mima and them and y'all. They
That they
was
willing
trying
to
to
get
figure
cheated
it
on and
out.
hit upside the head.
They was trying to no, that's what was
That
promoted to
is
them.
Anton, that's what it boiled down to. If I'm willing to get cheated on and get beat upside the head.
Every dude back then was not cheating. And in the same way that it is today, you're talking about what was promoted in Al Green's music. All right.
With a
We're not
bathroom.
talking about that.
Correct.
We talk majority of men back then was on point. They were so on point that they could have had as many women as they wanted in real life, didn't have to worry about social media. And guess what? They still was sending for their wife and their children to come up when they found a good job out of town. They
Which
was
wife?
focused on the point that I'm making is that they were focused on family. They were definitely focused on family. They was focused on keeping a family together. And it wasn't until actual things outside of their control to a larger extent that devastated the family. You can talk about war, you can talk about drugs, you can talk about a lot of things that went into the black community that factored into it. You could talk about certain laws that factored in to incentivizing women to break up their families, but they had
Planned
they had
Parenthood.
it together way better than y'all. I'm just telling you. That's just the facts.
Now,
They had it together way better than y'all, and they wasn't miserable, and they was cool, and they had a whole lot
Yeah.
more kids, and they figured it out, and they understood community, and they understood group economics.
The
This
devil
is
is
y'all.
Let
This
me,
is
alive.
and let
y'all.
me go ahead and just
This is
go ahead and
y'all.
add
This
to
is
that.
hot girl summer. This is hot girl summer. This is all y'all.
Anton, let me add to that though,
Man, let me tell
because
you something. I'm
probably
gonna
the
be for real. I'm gonna
polygyny
be
was
for real.
real back then. Y'all
I'm gonna
talking
be
about
for
them
real.
being cheated on.
At any point, I could pick 5 and bring them all back with me if I want to, and it wouldn't even be a thing.
So I have a
Y'all,
home.
y'all don't, y'all y'all not built like me, man. No,
No, because I don't want to get hit upside the head. And so I got a homework question for all my Daniel
That
Israel.
wasn't until the 70s.
Ask
That
your
wasn't until the 70s.
grandmama how she truly felt about your granddaddy. And I bet my bottom dollar that she
you
couldn't wait
can't
for
bet. You would be
I can
broke.
tell you,
I
You would
bet
be
right
broke.
I
now.
bet my bottom
now,
dollar she couldn't wait for that man to die.
You would
I'm
be
trying to
now,
broke.
tell you.
Jess,
You would be
I,
broke.
I, I don't
No,
think that experience and that narrative is like a majority of the grandmothers and great grandmothers, but I've definitely like seen videos on YouTube or like TikTok and stuff of that older generation telling women in our generation not to get married and not to settle down young because they did it so young. And so I do see that on social media of them giving their POV, basically saying like, no, I got married at 18, 19, 20, 21. Don't do it. Go live your life. They definitely are putting that narrative out there, but I wouldn't say it's like the majority of
and I think
them.
I think
And
the
it's
other
definitely
thing, I think
not.
the other thing that we need to realize is that I don't really think that people were just constantly getting beat upside the head. I think there's more family structures. So if somebody was getting beat up by the head, they was calling their cousins, their aunties. So I'm gonna let you know, I had my aunt call the family one time, and everybody showed up. Everybody showed up to the house when there
Yeah.
was an issue.
And
So
then,
That one
and
time,
then
sir.
No, no,
especially,
no,
come on.
no. The problem is, I hate to say this shit. Q. All right, we about to go ahead and just get there. The problem is, maybe y'all not getting beat upside the head as much as y'all should be.
What the hell?
Okay,
Oh
so
my
let me go and
God.
get my fish grease and let me
No,
go get
let's
my cast
go.
iron skillet.
Don't listen to him. Who cares?
Sorry, a few of y'all need to get smacked in the mouths the way y'all be talking about how
So you're
reckless
You
y'all be
gotta
talking
do
about
the
these men.
disclaimer.
I
If
ain't
you
lying.
gotta do the disclaimer,
Not
Q.
on the
If you know
panel.
someone
I'm
that's
not on the
experienced
panel.
domestic violence, please call the Domestic Violence Abuse
People,
Center,
oh,
please.
that because
Not on the
today sounds
panel.
like y'all condoning getting hit upside the head, and I'm never
people
gonna condone
want
that.
to get what?
So Jess, you really believe there's no woman that you've ever seen anywhere on this social media that you feel should just get popped in the mouth? No woman at all.
No, but why would a man put himself at risk to hit a woman and go to jail?
I don't
No,
believe
you're missing it,
violence
Q.
at
You're
all.
missing what I'm
I
saying.
don't think women.
No,
should
I
be
understand all of that.
Hold on, you're
Why
missing what I'm
even-
saying, Q.
Go
Q,
ahead.
Q, Q. Listen, back then, women were a man's property.
Okay, so we're gonna play what
And
Medea
so-
say, grip ball,
No, listen. Women were a man's property, and
so he could just
if
hit
you
her.
called the police and they came out like, oh, wait a minute, y'all married and y'all having a domestic dispute, you gonna have to handle that. It wasn't no getting arrested, wasn't no none of that shit. Like it was, you better get your life together.
So Meemaw wasn't happy, Anton. Meemaw was just trying not to get inside
Yes,
the
she
head.
is. Women need a level of discipline.
Let me
Now.
tell you. Let me tell you
Balls
something.
using these.
Let me tell you something. Just as a woman that's been married for the past 8 years, it takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of nerve for you to want to stay and keep working through stuff that is not going your way. You have
You like
to
to get
keep
hit upside the head,
going.
Maya?
I'm
'Cause
not,
that's what it sound like.
I'm not even being, no, I'm being real with you, Jess, because you're not
I'm
married.
genuinely
No,
asking.
I'm being genuinely real with you. As a married woman of 8 years, it takes a lot of grit. It takes a lot of willpower that a lot of women nowadays that are single just don't have. And which is going to be the reason why a lot of these women are just going to stay single. You got to,
y'all don't fear nothing no more.
you have no fear
That's the
of
problem.
God. God, when you say you want to be with this person and marry,
they don't need to fear God. They need to fear a man. And they man,
because the man is over you and God is over the man.
So the point is that y'all feel like, I think that the biggest problem with culture today is that we have not let y'all fail in a way that y'all need to.
Period.
Honestly. And I think that unfortunately the true problem in the game right now is that we got too many simps. And y'all know that y'all can go out there and make bad decisions on a regular basis. You know that, you know what I'm saying? You can go out there and have multiple kids, and then you're going to go ahead and find another sucker that's in your TikTok video saying, yeah, I married her and she got 4 kids. Like, you know that's a possibility. So as long as the possibility is there, you're going to continue to do it, right? It's like, I'll give you an example. It's a lot of women that's out here having sex unprotected, or they get pregnant because they know that they can go and get an abortion if they want to, right? The fact that they have the option does not prevent them from doing something like we have more contraception than ever before today. However, the statistics show that Black women, not Black men, Black women overwhelmingly are the ones that suffering from STIs, STDs, herpes, HIV, chlamydia, the whole 9 yards. How is that possible if y'all the most educated? We have more contraception than ever before. How are y'all still getting all of these crazy diseases if you are so familiar, if you understand, if you get it, if you can make the decision for yourself? Why are y'all basically out running around like a third world country where it's about to be one out of every 2 Black women have an STI or STD? It's a rhetorical question, but my point is that you were born unruly. Women at a lot of times are rebellious. The more options that they got, and that's why I was bringing up the whole idea of women being a man's property back then. The more options that they got, the worse the community became. They had more children out of wedlock. You see more Black women on EBT than ever before. More of them are single baby mamas. You have women that are raising gay men. The reason why we have a gay epidemic of men in Atlanta and Houston is because they were all raised by single parent households. And then at the same time, what enable y'all to do it is the fact that you know it's going to be another sucker that's DMing you talking about, what's up, Queen, Grand Rising. That motherfucker is the Grand Rising nigga. The Grand Rising nigga, he always going to be the one to pick up the pieces. And you always know that he going to be available for you. And so that's the problem. Y'all never really had the opportunity to suffer like y'all should. And so you don't make better decisions. Men make better decisions because we know that it's an ass kicking that's waiting on the other side of that fence. And ain't nobody going to come and save us from ourselves. And the men that fail, they just understand they failures, they take their L's. Women that fail, for whatever reason, they all believe that they deserve a good man. They all think that they're going to get Idris Elba. And they all think that you know, he's supposed to be tall, dark, and handsome. But again, it's a false expectation, and all it's doing, in my opinion, is driving the community bankrupt. So,
and real quick, before you go to the super chats, I just want to say the solution to all of this, because I know my girl Molly in the comments, she'd be like, "What's the solution? What's the solution?" Well, Molly, girl, let me tell you something. Even Jazz up in there too. Look, this is the solution. The solution is polygyny, baby. Just embrace it. All right, go ahead, get you a sister wife, and quit
That's not
yelling
the
about the
solution.
cheating.
Absolutely not.
And we can just
Absolutely
stop
Quit
not.
that right
yelling.
there. That's
Quit
not the
telling
solution.
the
And
cheat
that's the most
and all of this
pettiest,
stuff,
commonest. Hell
and
no.
quit pushing the sisterhood away. Embrace the sisterhood.
If you're a lesbian or bisexual, just say that.
That's what it's gonna come to anyway. Whether
That's
you
gonna
If
like it
you're
or
a
help
not.
lesbian or
all.
bisexual, just say
You gonna
that.
have
But
you a
don't.
baby. You gonna have you a daycare. You gonna have you a cook, a chef.
That's not
You
the
gonna have it
solution.
all.
And y'all sharing swapping juices. No.
You gonna have that, because guess what? At least you know what juices you're swapping compared to you just swapping it with the rest of the community.
Love, if you like
The
women,
You
street.
just
talking
say
about
that. But
At
polygamy?
least you be in your
no.
home. Everybody could be tested. Everybody could be straight. Anton, tell us. Anton,
Nah.
you just telling
I'm
about
sure
your sister
Anton
wife.
wife ain't going for that.
That's
Going
the
for that.
problem.
Now,
That's
okay,
why
can
they
I
gonna
say
keep
this
having
to
baby
Kamaya?
mama daddies.
Let me
Okay.
read the super chats, y'all.
And
Where's super chats? Okay, there it goes. Jojo, hold on, move the screen over so I can see better. Jojo Runa says, Sierra is the perfect wife now, but why did she become Future's fourth baby mama? Did she expect him to change and create a home, or was she chasing vibes? Gilbert says, Father's Day is a dawn with no king's protests. Dat Boy Birdie says, until Meg the Stallion and Gorilla are blamed, no man should ever be blamed again. Lantern says, it's diabolical how y'all making this simple situation so complicated. The Big Euro Short says, a lot of women don't make marriage a requirement. Also, if you tell a man to go wrap it up, they gonna wrap it up. Laughing my ass off. We gonna find a Jimmy ASAP. Corey says, I don't care how good my relationship is, I'ma still text some niggas. Glorilla just tweeted this yesterday. Thousands of likes. 392Q says, women are the gatekeepers of sex. Men are the gatekeepers of marriage. Both have great responsibilities and can damage a person if not handled right. Gilbert says, hypersexual energy promoted through vibrational means, unaware of what they are fighting with. Lost and Found says, Jess, do you realize you have the same stance on abortion as the genocidal Margaret Sanger who hated Black folks? Steven says, modern dating equals hunching and pain / raising Elsa's kids. Nigerian Ministry of Information says, I'm a Latino in San Antonio. Our Latinos do not F with our Black family. A Latina never brings a Black man to the family. Big love from Texas. Amerigo says, Patrice O'Neal, pregnant women, it's not their body anymore. Their body is now an apartment for the baby. Carrie Locke says, the correct answer is to serve and reproduce. Polar Bear 65 says, all this single parent diaspora is not race specific. I am a white male. It is across the spectrum of races, religions, etc. And marriage is not a band-aid against it either. Mike BK says, marriage today is temporarily not set for long-term relationships, period. Okay, Mike BK also says, the reason why women are broken is because social media fed them and accepted this broken culture. Shout out to LA Miles. Thank you for a long-time supporter. Adultery is not just cheating or infidelity. It's also having sex outside of marriage, divorce, remarriage. If you weren't divorced under the grounds of infidelity or abuse, a single person marrying a divorce is also adultery. Chosen 1619, dysfunction craves dysfunction. Talks with 2K. Shout out to 2K. My dog Ali on the panel tonight. Let's go. Nasheed says, when everybody talk at the same time, please play Nas One Mic. Chosen 1619 says, Black women are allergic to good men. Chosen 1619 again, some women like simps to cheat on. The man with the golden hand says, men sacrifice happiness for the family. Women sacrifice family for their happiness. Talgi says, I saw some of the K. Michelle interview. That person had to be off a perk in the finest bottle of Jack Daniels. James Sharp says, chat. Jess is talking like this because as a feminist that she is, she still believes that women have the moral ground. They don't. Men wake up. Jason 18, real women know how to move and know how to keep the family in check and happy. I know most people don't enjoy this, but what real women do, 100. Jackson says, shout out to the panel. The word fornication doesn't mean sleeping with someone outside of marriage. Look up the word using a concordance like Strong's. The Big Euro Short says, Jess, stop watching Tyler Perry movies. Dabshank the first says, Jess the type to say all her exes beat on her. Jackson says, my grandma loved my grandpas at Jess. Mike BK says, Jess, I believe you're fine someone to marry, but if you keep supporting feminism, you have a hard time finding that one man you are looking for. Telgi says, the curvature of Miss Sandwich's upper lip is fucking adorable, and we dog and cast iron skulls in 2026. JF Dominique says, show me where in the Bible it says that marriage is a business. See, this is another example of people misinterpreting the Bible and adding our own spin to it. And shout out to Terry Johnson. Jess is reading the liberal feminist handbook. That was nonsense sold to Black women to separate them from the men. Black men have never been in a position to oppress Black women financially or infrastructure-wise. The false color purple narrative. Shout out to Terry with $50 ball. Be tall, young, and attractive. How is it Black men's fault for broken homes? Who is picking degenerate men to procreate with? Women influence the quality of men through mating selection. Dumbass says, Jess, if the woman is miserable, then you best believe the man is beyond miserable. Is it possible for a man to be happy yet his woman is miserable? RC says, on top of nagging, y'all don't think women grandma wasn't going upside grandpa's head? Grandpa also having to deal with outside crackers and bagging niggas. Terry Johnson says, Kevin Samuels already tried to tell y'all, winter is coming, winter is here. Tell says, Kamaya for president, 100%. Mike BK says, y'all women are anti-tradition, just pro food stamps. Am I lying? DJ Ace Production says, like my dad used to say, you don't call the police when we effing. Don't call them when we fighting. And shout out to everybody in the chat. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. It is free, okay? But with this next topic, with all the riots going on in all the different cities, I know they touched down in Dallas. They were in Houston downtown this past weekend. It's getting a little crazy, but we know we had some people talk about the foreigners and how they are and how they look down on Americans. And let's watch this little clip.
So many foreigners will come to this country and look down on Black Americans like we're like the scumbags of the earth and like turn their noses up at us and be racist towards us. And then all of a sudden, when they feel like they're in some type of debacle or they need some type of help, now they're looking at us like, oh, we're supposed to be standing in solidarity. We're all POCs. It's like, well, first of all, more importantly, there is no country that you can go to on this earth where you don't have to have some type of visa or there's not some type of immigration law. So if you're in a country, any country, illegally, then at some point you're probably going to get caught and you're probably going to be deported. So why wouldn't America be any different? And my thing is this, like, if you're burning American flags, but you're fighting to live on American soil, like you're burning the flag like as if you hate America, but you want to live in America. You're fighting and you're upset because you want to live here. It's funny how everybody comes over to this country with their nose turned up against Black folks until they need help.
So is that true? Do foreigners look down on Americans?
They look down on Black people for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Yup. Caribbeans, Africans, Mexicans, all of them. They all just come here to work, get money to send back to their families, and then, so they could go back home or vacation. That's what they be saying online, I guess, that they just come here to work and get our resources and use whatever they can get. So basically they saying they freeloaders. That's what I'm hearing. Like they users. They just here to use us and then send it back to their families at home, I guess.
Yeah, they 100% don't support our culture. Like a lot of times they come here, they'll find themselves assimilating, but when it comes to our cultural standards of how we talk, how we treat each other, how we communicate, they definitely don't vibe with it. So I mean,
I have a question.
Some of them don't even care to learn English.
Let me question one thing. You said they don't support your culture, how you guys treat each other, talk, music.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, like,
hold on, Devin. Hold on. For a question for what you said. Do you support your own culture? How you guys talk to each other? How you guys act toward each other? How you don't support one another?
I reciprocate the behavior that's shown to me. Like, so I
No,
can't
that's not
say.
what I asked. Do you think the Black people in America support each other? The Black Americans, do you think they support each other?
I think it depends on what group of Black people you're talking to, and I think because the only foreigners only see what's publicized, which is the sexy res, the degenerate side, the bad part of the Black culture. That's what they believe most of the Black culture is, and they never actually get to see.
Is that how mostly the Black culture is?
Yes.
I don't want to say that.
Yes.
I don't want to say that. I just think that's what's promoted and that's what people see.
I don't think the Black culture supports the Black culture in America like the Jews do, or the Italians do, or the Asians do in their own culture.
Like what culture though? Like let's be real. Like what is the culture?
We know what the culture is. Like what they see online is the culture. The music, our music is the rap, the sexy reds, all of that. That's glorified because that is the culture. That's what our community likes to hear. That's what we push. That's what we play on our radios and this that like that
Right,
is the culture. So I'm
right.
confused
But
on
that
why we're acting like that's
I'm
not
not
that
accepting
is the
that.
culture.
no,
That's the
what
sub
I'm saying
culture.
is it's like it switches. It's been switching up for the longest. It's nothing's ever stable. We know when a Jewish little boy hits 13, they got a bar mitzvah. We know that there's certain things that happen in cultures. What is the culture for Black people?
They just said what the culture is. It's quite literally the images that we, just like for any culture, the fact that when a 13-year-old Jewish boy turns 13, he has this special thing happen for him. It's the same thing with our community. We know about the ghetto hood prom that was trending, that Black people
Hello.
are going to spend 60K even though they've never touched 10K for their child's senior year prom, even though they don't have a house and all those things. That's a reality of our
Right, but
community.
prom is not specific to us. Prom is for all
The
high
whole
school.
send off,
So
Yeah, true.
the
Do you
whole
Can
think
I
set
Black
up
ask
and
a
people?
All
send
high
off
question?
thing
schoolers.
that
When we're
is the
talking about
culture.
the conversation of culture and Black culture specifically, it is known, especially today, that we go all out,
Above
even
and
though we
beyond.
don't have the means and foundation technically to really go all out. It's always basically, like, to answer the question, I do think they look down on Americans as a whole, and I would say more so, especially from talking to immigrants, they feel like we are entitled. They feel like we don't actually understand the privileges of being American and things like that. But as a Black culture, I would definitely say what is put out online as a majority of content is what majority of our culture looks like and what majority of us support. Even if you personally don't agree or personally don't, subscribe to, a majority of those things, majority of our community does subscribe to listening to Sexy Red, to Glorilla, to Megan the Stallion. Majority of our culture is supporting the hood proms, and this
Yeah.
is your baby's, biggest night of their life. You need to go all out. And it's just like, okay, well, college would have been nice to go all out for, but we don't think about things like that. But culturally, we know most of us as a culture don't have the money to pay for college. But culturally, we see that a lot of them are having these big giant prom send-offs and things like that without having the foundation set up for them. But again, like you said, even not being Jewish, that a Jewish little boy is going to have this thing happen for him. We also know for, obviously it's not all of them, but majority of Hispanic little girls, when they turn 15, they're supposed to have a quince. It's known. So it's just, I
Can
think
I
that.
say, can I say,
Yeah.
as being, I'm Puerto Rican. I grew up in a Spanish culture myself, but I look and I was always treated like I was Black, whatever the case may be. But I would say it's definitely true as far as foreigners look down, especially on Black Americans. It is, it was something in my culture. I heard the term prieto for a long time, and it's like a kind of a slur towards Black people. Like, I never wanted to be that. I used to actually hate my skin complexion growing up because I never felt a part of my family, or they treated me thus as, separately because of it, whatever the case may be. So I would agree that foreigners definitely look down on Americans. And I feel like it's only popular when it's convenient, when it is cultural, when it is on TikTok and we're doing this rappers and we are at the concerts and we are looking good and at the club and, you know, doing all that good stuff. But when it comes to when it's convenient and we need them to support, they're not definitely going to be there. They're going to definitely stand with what they think is the winning side, which is the kind of the white side. So,
But
I'm glad you said that, King. So I was just gonna ask Cam. So when we talk about Black culture, you reference with us knowing like when a Jewish kid gonna have a bar mitzvah. So do we know what white kids have, or like their little milestones? Do we know what they do?
Sweet 16.
So I would say.
Well, we do Sweet 16 too.
No, y'all do baby showers.
If you're gonna
Yeah.
y'all do baby showers. Kids are having.
Oh no, my baby had a Sweet 16. My baby had a Sweet 16.
It's not as common.
Like what's synonymous with white culture and that.
No, my point was well, I was only going to make the point is our culture happens to be American culture. So those because that's what we know. So we don't have a reference. Yeah, you know, I'm finna. All right, Jess, here you go.
Yeah, no,
we don't have a reference.
Yeah, no, and I think
we don't have a reference because we lost our reference. Our culture is supposed to be in the Most High God.
Yeah.
But see, y'all don't want to talk about that, so I'm gonna leave it surface. So I'm not gonna go there. So I'm gonna just leave it surface and say we don't have those things, the bar mitzvahs and all of those, because we are American. We do Sweet 16s. My baby did Sweet 16, so. So I don't know.
But in the Black community, Sweet 16 aren't
prevalent. More so Juneteenth and Easter Sundays.
What y'all doing for them days?
I'm not.
What days?
Juneteenth.
I don't celebrate Juneteenth.
But that's what the culture does. Juneteenth.
No, that's what was given to them, and they decided they was going to go along with it like they do everything else.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Culture. Like that's a part of their culture.
That's what I'm saying. That's not our culture. That's a subculture. Our culture is in God. That's where it's supposed to be the foundation.
Bruh, I'm dead, Molly.
I just want to know, right? Because y'all say foreigners look down on Americans, right? And I think it was more like Black Americans we were talking about or whatever. But do you guys think that Black Americans support Black Americans as much as they should?
No, absolutely not. And I'll go ahead and say my opinion about it. Honestly, I really don't think that cultures really care that much about what our culture got going on, because they're so concerned about moving their culture or moving their people up the ranks. Like, I feel like y'all be in your own lane in these other cultures, and when they do see us, it can come off as, oh, they're throwing shade or they're looking at us a certain way, but it's really more so like, wow, they really don't have nothing to do with them with their lives right now. Like, they're really just twerking on a handstand. Like, right, wow, okay, back to the show, okay, and then they just get back to their 3 jobs. They get back to sending the monies to their grannies and all that stuff, and keep it pushing. I really don't feel like it's really that personal of a thing with these other cultures. They come here, like Anton's been saying, they do their job, they send the money back, and then that's it. What are we doing? We're not sending our money nowhere besides to the hair store, drugstore, the
question. I have a genuine question right now. Do we have this strong distaste for Black folks because we're on the Anton and Q show and y'all genuinely think like this? Or y'all just going along to get along?
Strong distaste? We don't have a strong distaste for Black folks.
Wait, one mic. Let me ask her a question. One mic.
I'm befuddled. I'm shocked. I'm in a state of confusion. I'm always in confusion because we always talk about the negative connotations about Black people. It's almost insufferable. The crazy thing is, before I started coming on this panel, I used to think I was low-key a little bit conservative. But now that I'm on here, I'm like, yo, like, this is mind-boggling to me.
It's okay.
Hear me out. Let me finish. because I let y'all ramble on for about 20 minutes. We sit here, we talk so negatively, and I want to answer Q's question. Do Black people support Black people? Of course, there's Black people who don't support Black people, but can we talk about the ones that do? I've been where I've seen some really great, well-spoken, Black folks with decorum, and they supported Black people. They walked with class. They had stuff to lose. They weren't just out here twerking and shaking their glutes and just doing crazy stuff. But we never shed light on that. Every time we talk about Black people, it's always patting their head and binding and booty shaking and twerking, and that is part of the culture.
What is
But
that?
just shed light on some of the good things, but we don't know the majority because we don't know the majority of Black people. So can we be
on
But the,
social
what
media
do you mean?
talking
Okay,
about?
Jess,
it is
Jess,
crazy to me
What do
how
you
we just
see more
Jess,
of?
talk about
Jess,
our
for
own
me,
people like this.
I'm finna answer your question.
It's
And
crazy how oblivious you
Jess,
act. You
I'm not
want
acting
to
can I
so
say
oblivious
bad
this?
because
be
I agree
so
with
so
y'all. These
oblivious.
things are happening. I'm not disagreeing,
Okay,
but
so
what
if
I'm
you
saying is
know
that
that,
y'all make
then
it seem like it's just one side of the coin, that there's another side of it. And what I'm saying is that there's two
that's the
sides of it. I agree with
majority.
y'all,
It's
but
the
then can we also talk
majority.
about this other side?
I
But
got you
We're
back,
talking
Jess.
about the
the thing
Y'all
majority.
not
We're not
is
delusional at
talking about the
all.
but
Y'all
minority.
the
not
Let's
thing
do
disagreeing
one
with what
mic. We
y'all
gotta do
saying.
one mic.
But the crazy part about it, Jess, is that you can sit there and talk just as bad about all these other races. That's the crazy part.
What race was
That's
I
the
talking
catch
bad about?
22. You want to
What was
talk
I talking
about
bad about?
how negative, you want to talk about how negative we always talk about our own race. This is our own people, but you are normally in the group of people talking about other races
What
negatively
other? Give me an
in
example.
so many.
Because you
What
don't
do
got
you
one.
mean?
You don't have one. I've never got on this panel and
You
talked bad
love
about any other.
Cap when we was talking about the white man, when he was talking about the white women in the workplace, and you start talking about how they be
Because I
calculating
said
all
there
this
are
stuff
Black
with you
women
and
who go
Dalen.
through things in the
You
workplace.
can
I never
everybody
once
can
said
go back
anything
and
bad
look at
about
everybody
white
can go
people.
back and look at the video whenever you was
Pull
talking
it
about all
up.
that
Pull it
junk with
up.
the white
Pull
women.
it up.
When the white women in your job, you was talking about some white woman
But
that
what
you
did I
had
say that
some
was negative
issues,
though?
and you're like blah 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 blah.
I
Yes.
never said anything negative,
Yes, you
Kamaya.
did. You did. And
I
about the
talked about
white
my
man. Yes,
experience.
you did.
What did I
About the
say that
white
was
man.
negative though? You don't have
And about the
nothing.
white man. If I'm not mistaken, Miss Nikki, I think you were there.
Kamaya,
Miss
I said I
Nikki,
would date a white man. So what
you
are you
was
talking
there?
about?
No, you was talking negative
I
about
said no,
white
I
men
did
with
not.
other women. Yes, you
No, I
was.
did not.
Yes, you was.
Well,
Yes,
pull it
you
up
was.
then. Pull it up.
Every time somebody bringing up other
I think
races,
this
you
is
want to talk
pointless.
about all kind of,
This
and
is
Okay,
then
pointless.
the white
hold
woman,
on,
the white woman with
Kamaya,
This
the
one
is
short
second.
pointless.
shorts.
I don't know who you're confusing me with,
Can
but
No,
you
no, no.
shut the fuck up?
Y'all getting catty.
you're loud and wrong.
Let's get back on track. Let's get back on track.
Yeah, I just
Say,
actually support
I
you.
do want to, because
Wait,
that's
hold
a,
on,
I
Nikki.
do
Hold
want
on,
to
Nikki.
act.
Hold on, Nikki. Let Devin
Okay.
go, and then you can go. Go ahead, Devin.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just want to say just like I support you in your statement. Because I think I was saying the same thing when I was talking about Kate Michelle earlier, where she was saying where she jumped from the black guys to the white guys. I said there's an opposite side where there's good black guys that she could have went with, and that was ignored. And I think that side of the community actually supports each other. Like you see those events, you can go out where black people are networking and communicating and engaging each other. And again, I think I think what you're saying is the opposite side is getting caught just like the foreigners do. All they see is the sexy res, all they see is the other thing because the other side isn't allowed as the good, the positive side of the black community. And I think ultimately that's what you're trying to say. And I support that. I feel like there are black people that support black people. You just got to go find them.
But can y'all
So,
understand how like the statement of like
Jess,
having
hold on 1 second. Jess, so just to answer your question, because I can only speak for me. So the reason that, first of all, we know there's amazing black people out there. That is literally the whole point why we speak on this, because those voices are not the loudest. Your voice not the loudest. Our voices aren't the loudest. We're actually just now in the past couple of years trying to make them the loudest. So for me personally, yes, I don't really I care about my community. So I feel like I'm more pro-black than people like you or the other pro-blackity blacks. I feel like because I will address these issues that nobody wants to talk about. Like these kids they're dying. They're unaliving themselves. It's bad out here. The stuff we talking about with the family, all this stuff is a correlation. These conversations we have ain't just to be having fun. These conversations are detrimental to our community. Like, seriously. Just like that's why I got so frustrated when you just advocated for the AB. We've already doing that. We're not going to have a Black community at the rate we're going. Between that and the kids doing what they doing to each other, taking each other off the street, it's not cool. So that's why I believe, and I would like to hope that we do address these issues, because nobody else, your leaders at the top, your Jasmine Cross, they're not doing it. They have a whole nother agenda. So in order to fix the issues and get the husband you want, we got to fix this.
But Nikki, their critiques, there's really no solution. We sit up here and we talk about the bonus and the pat in the head, and we cackle about it.
Anton give a solution, and there's multiple other women and men that on here that give a solution every single day. It's just that you all don't want to accept it, and that's it.
And you're not wrong, but can we also be uplifting as well? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're absolutely right in what you're saying, but can we speak life into our people sometimes?
But doesn't that change the conversation?
We've been doing that for years. It's not working.
Not the conversation.
But doesn't that change the conversation? Because if you have spilled milk, why am I going to worry about the clean spot if I got to worry about the problem where I spilled the milk? So we're talking about the problem. In order to fix the problem, I gotta address the problem, right? I gotta talk about the problem. I gotta get my napkin or my mop and mop the milk, right? Not mop the clean spot, because the clean spot is clean already. I know I got a clean floor. It's just this spot of my floor that I want to clean up. And in order for us to fix the culture of what we're talking about, we have to fix the problem. And if the problem is that, then we have to stop. I think that's a gateway. That's a moving the goalpost when we like, well, what about the good people? We're not talking about the good people. We know there's obviously good people. I'm sure there's all good people on this panel right now. We're not talking about ourselves or you and I. We're talking about the people that are affecting the culture in a negative way, to why we look at the culture in such a way, and why the other outsider other cultures look at our culture in that way. They're not wrong for seeing it. It's because it's everywhere. Even when you walk out the house, when I walk out the house, when I go to the club, there was a girl that did a handstand off the back of her section, jumped off and did a split into a handstand on this wet, nasty floor, just bouncing. That's in my eyes. That's not just on media. That's what I'm seeing. And you know what everyone is doing, especially her girlfriends, are clapping at that, talking about go bitch, get it. Go bitch, get it. That's you feel me? But then those are the same women that's saying that there's fuck niggas out here. These are the same women that's saying, but what about the good girls? We're not talking about the good girls. We're definitely not talking about you. It's just frustrating, because I feel like it's just it changes the conversation, and now we're arguing about something that not even effective or benefiting the culture is what we're talking about, right? The problem is the culture, which you said you agree with. You said, I know there's the patting of the hair and all of that. So let's talk about the patting of the hair. We're not talking about everybody else. We're talking about her.
Thank you, King. Yes, Lord. Thank you, King, Lord. To the King. Yes, hands down.
Erica, what you got to say about the topic?
We almost started shouting like we in the church, Lord. Yes.
I don't have much to say, because my dad is Hispanic, my mom's Black. I haven't ran into any racism dealing with my Hispanic side of the family. So I just haven't seen it. But I feel like every race is against their own race as well. Like, they do talk a lot of stuff about Black people. I see a lot of Black people talking stuff about a lot of, our own race. Mexicans talk about their own race. Vietnamese people talk about their own race. Like, I think we just all need to come together, to be honest. It's so many people mixed up in our families nowadays. I don't see what the issue is. Why are we putting ourselves against one another? I don't get that. I got Mexicans. I have white people in my family. I have some Vietnamese people in my family. I just don't get what the whole issue is, period. Like,
I'm sorry, and one more thing to go off of what you said. A lot of these other cultures disown their people, right? They kick them out the house. They're not allowed if they don't follow the covering, if they don't follow the rule, if they outside the race. A lot of these cultures kick them out, and it's not looked down upon. It's only us that we have to feel bad for the people that do wrong in our community and uplift the people that are doing wrong. And oh, but I feel bad. They should still at least no. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm done. My bad.
Yeah, it's wrong. But my point is just I'm saying that it's racism in our own community and in others' own communities. It's not just the white people hate the black people. The black people don't like the white people because of what happened back in the slavery days. Like, we hate on ourselves a lot. Black people hate on each other a lot. Mexicans hate on each other a lot. Like, I don't get it.
Acknowledging the bad, like acknowledging the negative stuff doesn't equal racism. It's just acknowledging what is
do
happening.
feel like they are in a higher class than other black people, and it is a racism thing. So some higher black people feel like the lower black people are the ones that are not making as much money as they are. They look down on them, and to me, that's racism in your own community.
That's classism.
Yeah,
whatever it is, we don't support each other, and other religions don't support each other either. Why can't we all just come together? Why do we have to turn our backs on each other? I don't get it. We're all integrated.
Acknowledging the negative is not turning our backs on each other. We have to say what the problem is to get some solutions. Like, we can't just be oblivious, and we can't act like it's not happening. We can't act like we don't have the sexy reds, these people in our communities. Like, we cannot act like they don't exist.
They don't run the whole community.
They are
but they're at the forefront. They are definitely they're at the forefront.
Nobody else would know that.
Why is Glorilla
What do you mean?
winning a gospel album? A gospel? Why?
Nobody will ever know. But they're at the forefront.
This is the stuff I'm talking about. Like, granted,
well, I actually blame the BET Awards for that mistake because
wait,
they didn't bet.
That's the culture.
BET
That's
stands
our
for what,
culture.
There we go.
What you say again?
BET stands for what?
Black Entertainment Television.
It's the one award ceremony hosted by Black people for Black people.
I get what y'all are saying, but
white people
that's
run
like saying like
white people don't run that.
That's like saying Tony.
I mean, they bought it. It's not Black owned anymore.
Yeah.
No, I think it's. Go ahead, Jess.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I get what y'all are saying. Like, as a whole, it is representative of the culture. Yeah, okay, we're not oblivious to that. Okay, but that specific error and the people who delegate in that committee, there needs to be a lot of responsibility held in that aspect. And we don't know if people were Black or not.
Category.
And that's me looking at a situation
whether they Black or
not. Say BT represents the Black culture. Yeah, we know that already. But if we're talking about Glorilla winning a BT award for gospel music, then that needs to be held. A big part of that needs to be held to the committee who delegated and who voted on that.
And not the fans.
We gotta stop.
Did the fans vote for that though? Did the fans vote for that?
Hold on,
we have to stop supporting all of
them. I was gonna say, and not the fans cheering for her winning this award. All I saw on social media was people saying, "Oh my God, yes, so proud of her. She deserves this. Look at her bringing all her fans, all her friends.
She deserved the award.
She came up with from the hood. She brought them on stage with her. We love a girl that's come up. Yes, queen." They were literally saying she was, amazing for, crossing over genres and doing all these great things.
They are embracing it.
Yeah, they're absolutely embracing it. So they don't even have to be the ones firsthand voting for it. They did that because they know the people of our Black culture want to see that and will support her. Because again, if we had, a sound mind and even just like understood the like that whole collaboration in general, the fact that you even won that when there is a whole genre of Christian artists who literally only dedicate their lives to Christian music, and you gave it to a rapper who had a collaboration with a Christian artist, it's not authentic. It's not authentic. So the fact that we can see something like that and they will support that, and not even support it, like literally saying that she is just the epitome of everything. She's so great. Oh my God, we just love this. It's weird, and it's literally supporting this idea of culture that we say we don't have when we actually do have it, because again, they're pedestalizing these type of collaborations and things when it's like, if we all are objective about it, you don't even have to be Christian to understand she shouldn't have won that award. Like, there's quite literally Christian artists. Why would you give a Christian gospel award to a rapper? for a feature.
And sex and
you
all
know,
that.
like the song wasn't even a good
She
song.
won the
It wasn't even
album.
a good song.
She won the
Cam,
album,
Cam.
right?
It's the same thing with Beyonce and the country music situation.
She shouldn't have
That
won
was
that.
not, in my opinion. Now that would be a whole personal thing.
Billie
'cause, you know,
Eilish should have
like
won that.
Beyonce.
Sorry.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there should have been a different artist. Like why is it not the artists that actually dedicate their lives to that genre, but they would give it to a Black person just to do exactly what they know what happened and get the support from
Yeah.
the community?
Cam, this is just as bad as knowing Black people literally thought Kamala would have been best fit for what the hell is going on with our country right now. Like, this is just as bad of a decision as that is. But nobody's going to take accountability for that bad decision. But they want other people to take accountability for these little similar bad decisions. It just doesn't make
sense. Anybody else? Want to come? Ali, I think you were. Go ahead.
Y'all gotta understand, and again, I say this a lot of times, but everybody forget about it. Is that you don't have to embrace the parts. You don't have to embrace the horrible people in the culture. There is not there. There isn't a culture that I can think of that don't have a subset of people that they say they outcast and they don't mess with them. What I'm trying to understand is why do people that actually do things the right way have to subject themselves to people that don't just because they Black? That's what I'm trying to understand. Why do y'all feel like that certain people owe some level of grace or going back to the hood? Or I didn't watch the BET Awards. I don't give a fuck about whether or not Gorilla won or not. I don't care. What okay, what does that do for me? Or what does that mean if she won a gospel album from a network that's not even owned by Black people? What do I give a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, cool. Good for her. Like, awesome. And Kirk Franklin was up there too. And y'all enjoyed T.I. and all of that. And that's cool if that's what you like. But I'm largely unaffected by it because the people that I surround myself with, they not on that shit. They don't care. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we have to do a better job of segmenting. We've been having this conversation, not even us, but when I say it, I'm saying culturally, Black people have been having this conversation for a long time about support this and oh my God, she got a new restaurant, starting off with plates and dinners, buy the plate and dinner, and all of that dumb shit, right? We've been doing this shit for a long time. It's nothing new. For the last 44 decades, this has been the play. We've made no progress. All right. So here's my suggestion and here's my solution. Pick and choose the parts that you rock with, and then the parts that you don't rock with, let them be. Like, I'll give you an example. We're highly divided when it comes to our politics. And so much so to where people are willing to leave a family alone if they not on the same wavelength as them politically. But I will tell you that I fuck with my family, and the majority of my family is liberals, hardcore liberals that absolutely positively don't know what the fuck they doing from a political perspective, as far as my opinion. But when it's Thanksgiving, we have a ball and we party. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with everybody else. I can go to an event, but I don't necessarily have to align with every single thing that they do. I think we need to just do a better job of picking and choosing when we want to rock out with some shit and when we don't want to rock out with some stuff. And don't be so emotional about it. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe Black people. I don't owe white people nothing. I owe myself. And so I'm going to pick and choose the times when I want to rock out with somebody and when I don't want to rock out with somebody. And I don't have to justify it. And so in the same way that people gonna do business, you know, when they fuck with you, these outsiders, they fuck with you when you got money. What you think that they racist? If a person is truly racist against you, and this is why we got to stop using these words so loosely, they don't fuck with you when you got money or when you don't have money. They don't care. But the great equalizer, and this is why they keep y'all distracted on this race shit, is that it's a culture thing. It is all culture. Culturally, when it comes to socioeconomics, right? It's culture and it's money. It's a class war. And they keeping y'all distracted by having y'all focus on shit that don't matter. Because at the end of the day, you still got to eat, sleep, breathe, and put on your pants one leg at a time, unless you're the type of nigga that wear a dress. Then it's going to all be the same. And so when you go over to Mexico, all of these people that allegedly don't rock with you, you know why they rock with you? Because you're spending money. And so we need to get out of our feelings. If you want to ever figure this out, it's not about supporting the Black community. It's about figuring out how to get the money together. And y'all gonna have to work with each other, not because y'all Black, but because of the proximity of the people that you spend the majority of your time with. And so even though I'm a person, for example, that rock with everybody, most of the people that work for me, 98% of everybody that work for me, I'll say 95% of everybody that work for me is Black people. And most of them is women. And so it's not that I discriminate or anything like that. I just, based off of proximity, rock out with the people that rock out with me the most. And I got a lot of supporters from the white lens, and I got a lot of supporters from you know what I'm saying, people overseas and stuff like that. But proximity says that these are the people that I spend the most time with, and those are the people that I'm going to get money with. So, and if the opportunity presents itself with somebody else, then we'll see. But y'all got to stop leaning too much in the race. You don't owe nobody nothing. And there are great Black people, and there's some trash Black people. Throw the trash in the trash, rock out with the ones that's good, and stop feeling like you obligated to do anything to anybody.
So to that point, Anton, would you agree with just saying that we should be focusing our conversations more so on what we fuck with ideally and the positives of the conversation?
That's not what I said.
Nope.
But I do think we should highlight both.
Nope.
We should talk about degenerate Black people. Can we at least talk about, there was a good Black excellence event? Like,
no, shame them all. Shame them all.
Well, okay, so let me ask you a question.
Doesn't matter.
Let me ask you a question. What culture is spending all of their time celebrating and highlighting the greatness of their culture that's doing awesome?
None.
So what makes you think we're gonna do anything different?
I never said that we should spend all of our time doing that, but it's like, damn,
half of our time
is negative. I'm like, can we get a positive in there? Can we throw one in there?
I think it was King. He said it perfectly. He said, why would we spend our time focusing on a spot that's clean? It's clean.
Because when we're here, we're just talking about it, talking at it. In my opinion, I have yet to see some viable solutions or some constructive criticism. All I've seen from people who typically come on here are people who just, because they had the bonnet, because they was ghetto, because they was this, they was hoes.
It's a bi-level solution. It's multiple levels to it.
People don't like the solutions that are
I believe in shame. You wouldn't believe the amount of people. Hold on. You wouldn't believe the amount of people.
You said to get an abortion as a solution, but I said
that is a solution.
Hold on.
But in my opinion, that's not a solution. That's you trying to cover up your mistake.
You wouldn't believe the amount of people that reached out to me and said, "Yo, you know what? I had to divest myself against this Democrat plantation also. I had to think, you know what, man, I had to get my life together. You know what? You helped me get a bag, so on and so forth. You can't make nobody do nothing. All you can do is present it the way that it needs to, shame people accordingly, and address the culture the way that it's supposed to be addressed. I believe I have a massive influence. I do. I just know it. And when I say shit, I see people imitate. I see people take my talking points. I see a lot of shit. So for me to act like it's not an impact, I know it's an impact. I know that there's a segment of women that hate me. And they hate me because it bothers them. Before a few of them, they come and switch over to the good side and they say, you know what, I thought about it a little bit differently. And you know what, I need to do stuff a little different. Oh, it's working. It's absolutely working. The suckers are squirming. They are.
But at the same time, you're the representative. You're not
going to fix everybody. And there's some people that's always going to be degenerate. And some people going to look at it as entertainment. But you just got to do your part. And when I'm not going to stop having a conversation, because it's necessary. And nobody looks at something and says, you know what? They're talking so positive. I want to be a part of the positive crew. They come in, you put the medicine in the candy, you kick some ass, and then you educate them on top of it. And so you got to take a bi-level approach.
But at the same time, it's like understand, like you speak about the negative stuff, but you are what Jess talks about. You talk about the negative stuff, but you also talk about the positive stuff. Like you are a representation of that.
Me,
that
talk about how awesome I am. Somebody in the chat, for example, says Anton love blowing his own horn. You goddamn right. I love blowing my own horn, and I also love it when your girl blow my horn. Hell yeah. Listen, I'm not waiting on nobody to give me no flowers. I get my own goddamn flowers. Fuck that. I'm not on that. I am absolutely gonna make sure that I celebrate myself. 100%.
I mean, I still think we need to talk positive about certain things.
Then you do it.
But at the same time, I think you don't.
I'll tell you what. You focus on the positive. I'm gonna keep doing exactly what I've been doing, and then that way we'll have balance.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is you talk about positive stuff also. That's my point. You don't just talk about negative stuff. You teach people. You teach people how to make money.
No, let me.
You do the positive and you talk about the negative. You do the positive, but you talk about the negative so that you can try to.
But he talks about the positive also. The whole bag chaser community is about positive.
Listen, that's for y'all to figure out. That's for y'all to figure out. I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm doing.
So is the bag chaser community not positive?
I'm gonna just say this for all the people
and here's the thing: we approaching 18,000 bag chasers. So positive. I got my own army of people that's running it up, taking care of business, and getting to it. So
look, you mentioned the Bible earlier. Christ went out to the lost sheep. He didn't go to the sheep that was already here and got it together. He's going out to the sick, to the deaf, to the blind, not to the people that can see and hear and know how to know where they need to go. Real talk.
You're missing the point.
You know, he also said, "Cut off your right arm despite."
Let me address this really quickly. Philadelphia underdogs, occasionally like a tap into the chat, says our ancestors were from Africa. Meanwhile, first of all, he has a gun as his profile photo, but we gonna ignore that part. How the fuck are you American? Oh, they programmed you, brother. Listen, you an African booty scratcher. All right. I'm a straight up American. Take your African shit, all of that shit that you got going on, take it over to the bush. All right. We fuck with everybody, but stop trying to put your shit on us. You can be African, you can do all of that shit that you want to. We straight up American over here. We don't speak English. We speak American. All right. That's what we are. Take all of that African shit back to where you came from, bro. We don't give a fuck about that shit.
No, but I hate when people say things like that because it's just like, if we even being technical, what part of Africa? Like, how far back are we going? Like, we're so far removed from that. Like, it's been generations. It's been so long. So it's
and a lot of people don't even know. A lot of us were already original and aboriginal to this here land of Americas. So all of us didn't come over on no boat.
And if we did, it's because the ones that are still in Africa sold us.
They sold us over here. So
they don't never talk about that part.
Yo, I just looked at the updated.
They say we get kidnapped. They say we got kidnapped.
If you from the Congo, if you from Sudan, you can't come over here, nigga. like we don't want to. Y'all listen. Y'all fix your own country before you start putting your trauma on us. I don't want to hear about that shit.
That's what they all need to do.
They already put their trauma. They got us over here.
They bring lawlessness here.
Yep. So I want you to start speaking about them, Jess. Since we got to talk about the good black folk, I want you to talk about the Africans that sold us over here. Since you so mad about slavery.
Yes, that was my husband's comment, by the way, y'all. Okay.
It's crazy that people are like saying I was dick
American.
riding.
What?
It's
Which
crazy
one?
people are saying
American?
I'm dick riding for Anton, but at the same time, the whole conversation was that we shouldn't just talk about negative stuff, or we should talk about negative and positive stuff. And Anton's a person who speaks about both, and I gave an example of it. So people in the chat comprehension skills.
Yo, how come all of these people that's so adamant about their heritage, yo, how come y'all won't just go back to the motherland? Like, go back.
You can't just go back.
No, self-deport.
Ask any of them what part of Africa they
The
came
same.
from.
The
They
same.
have to go back.
Ghana apologized for selling them, and now they're giving them dual citizenship.
Listen.
So if they want to go back, they
have
can.
the availability of going through the process of becoming a legal citizen over into the motherland. They can just be intentional. Go over there.
They don't want to go there.
Half of these, I know what's wrong because some of these niggas can't even get passports because they got that felony on their record. And when they got to go through some extra steps, and you can fix that too, and you can get your record expunged. I got somebody that can help y'all with that. I think y'all should go back to the bush, go find your ancestry, go figure that out, and go back to where you came, go back to where your ancestors is from. I think that people should start doing that.
I mean, outside of going back to where your ancestors came from, I do think, because I actually did take a genealogy test, I think it might be pretty cool just on like a outside to just know where you're from, where you're.
So when you going? When you going back?
What percentage of you are African? What's the percentage?
Give me a second.
What's the percentage? How African are you?
Hold on. Give me a second.
Jess,
when you going back?
But okay, so I'm mixed with a whole lot of different stuff. So if I'm gonna go somewhere, I'm going back to
go back to where
is it Africa?
Go back to the majority of where you from. Where your what's your majority?
The majority was Cameroon.
So when you going to Cameroon?
Quarter past never.
Why? Why you not going back?
I mean, I'm not hell bent. I like America. I ain't hell bent on going back to Africa.
Oh,
but I'm just saying, I think it would be something good for everyone to know kind of what their genetic makeup is.
But what's the point of knowing if you don't want to like go explore the culture? Like,
I mean, going to explore the culture is not synonymous with going back to live there.
Well, I'm not saying go to live, but like in general, because I thought he asked like if you would like when you going back. I guess like you don't want to ever go.
I would dive into the
talking this dumb shit. This is rich. They the richest countries in minerals. Yeah, for China own you motherfuckers.
Sure. And they don't even fuck with
China got the mineral rights to half of you motherfuckers' country. Man, listen, man, y'all get out the fuck out of here, bro.
Super chat.
If y'all had, trust me, if y'all had that much in minerals, we would.
Hey, I'll be wanting to talk to your car. Your car.
We will already be over.
Let me get to the chat. Let me get to the super chats. And we go to the final topic. DJ A says, like my dad used to say, you don't call the police. Oh, we already did that one. James says, people don't understand America is a corporation, not a country. The USC tells you that, so why wouldn't people come here just for the money? That's the point. A.R. Smitty says, the culture is celebrating prison releases over college graduations. Carrie says, culture is tied to economics. We don't own or control it enough to create a positive culture. MCK Dice says, the culture is hip-hop culture, from clothing to vernacular, my glasses on, from staying on code to no stitching, the expectation of male swag to woman at freaknik. Moonlight says, the slave trade was used to populate Puerto Rico between 1659 to 1842, 26,881. African slaves from the region of West Africa, Nigeria, brought to Puerto Rico.
Hold on 1 second, Q. Y'all gotta stop spamming the chat. Drop it once, we got you, and then you know what I'm saying, keep it moving. Try not to put people on a little mini timeout. Y'all gotta stop spamming the chat. We heard you the first time. All right.
Gilbert says, who calls themselves kings and gods while they're promoting lackluster Black people? No kings protest Black Jesus pictures popping up in other places. Recognize. Faye says, facts, Nikki. Timothy says, I support positive Black culture and Black traditional roles and uplifting Black image. I don't support churches, degenerates, ghetto, and gender wars. Kenny says, Jess, you fixed for the majority. Like you, majority of your forehead needs it. Bang, my bad. Tony says the small hats control Black images. Mr. Puggy says the FBA community lacks unity. Lack of unity equals lack of support. There is a minority of us that do, but that's a minority. Dion says, Jess is right. All the show does is talk about Black people. I bet my life this panel can't go a month without talking about Blacks. MCK Dice says the question to
Why would I
ask
go a
is,
month without talking about Blacks?
we want to talk about white people? What y'all?
Suck my dick.
Whoa. I just
You don't listen.
We are Black.
We
We
don't
are
give
Black.
a fuck about what these niggas talk about. We gonna talk about the shit that's fun, entertainment, culturally
But like, why
appropriate,
would we want to talk
and
about
whatever the
anybody
popular
else?
culture is talking about at the time. That's what we gonna address. Nobody want to be on your little mini positive crusade. Take your positivity back to where you came from. Nobody care about that dumb shit.
But like, why
MCK.
would we want to talk about anybody else?
Exactly. I just don't get that. It
Right.
says, okay, MCK Dice says the question is what was Black culture prior to hip hop, the jazz, soul, and funk eras? Unfortunately, the generic side of hip hop culture became the face of all Black Americans. Look at drill music as an example. JF says our culture is in the Bible. Don't take my word for it. Just read the Bible from the beginning to end, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Timothy says, damn, what planet is just from busted? Marcia says, Asian beauty stores, billion and money industry. Black stores out of business. Why? Ladies, marriage is more than cooking and cleaning. 23-year-old years marriage. Shout out to you, 23 years marriage, Marcia. Jay says, y'all on the same panel can't even define what the culture is. Don't you see the problem? I love you guys, but come on. Mike says, that's right, Nikki. Why are we talking about the unalive women and liberals aren't making it any better? They like versus spreading is an ad break with no antidote. Dumbass says, sisterhood, delegate just saying, why don't we speak positive? It's simple because she's hearing things she doesn't like and wants it to stop. Dalen says, all y'all got just the F up. We love you, Jess. Evil Shedex says, they do run the community when Glorilla is meeting the president of all people. Journey Trials and Joy says, as an African, I can't talk in Black American problems, but I do wish more people do care and do something. My people have issues as well, but I've seen change in my country for the better. Patricia says, Paramount owns BET. Tell says, the laugh I laughed when I found out about Glorilla winning that gospel award. Had to look that track up. Kelvin says, it's called Hell on Earth. The downfall is coming. Empire Foundation says the BT Wars is just as real as the planned protests. Paid agendas submitted. It says Black women by and large are their own race. Timothy says Kirk Franklin ain't no damn Christian. Logan says it's disingenuous for us to know the more negative aspects of the culture are what others are shown online, and then we act shocked that they have those assumptions. Even saying Blacks hate those behaviors. C. Rob says, I want all immigrants that don't like Black Americans to understand we don't care. Mind your own business, respectfully. Patricia says, kind of like Beyonce buying the Grammy for country music. Tell says, you do know that certain people are put in positions to push certain agendas. Magentar says, just saw a comment of some sort in the sky from Henderson, Nevada. The trail is still visible. Okay, King D says Black woman divorced the highest, but K. Michelle is fake crying to convince men to marry. Protect your bags, kings. Never settle for rebellious women. T. Jack says when it's cool, it's we Black, but when it's negative, it's you or y'all. Funny how unity disappears when the headlines are different. Crazy work. Mike says that goes to show that when Black people support Black rappers like Gorilla and the fake award means y'all anti-common sense. So don't tell me it exists because you're lying. Journey says, growing up in the U.S., I volunteered and mentored young Black youths. One became a welder, which bought his mother a house, got a family now. The other kid didn't listen to me and ended up dead from game. Gilbert says, for real, you're not going to have an uprising of kings, queens, gods, and think an opposing force won't present itself to prove they are greater than spin work is for real. Tell says, we are indigenous Americans. My 2 cents says, I beg to differ, Anton. Yes, there's a middle ground where having money, rocking out, and laughing to the bank until power moves are discussed. Journey Trials and Joy says, I agree. Let's keep us separate. Us Ghanaian, we can't talk about bad about Black Americans. We have our own issues. My 2 cents says there are ethnic groups that hold true with their millions to their ethnic groups. Can we see DeBorn? It says, Timothy says, Anton, cold-blooded. Mike says, Jess, if the Black community keeps stepping on dog-ish and embraces the ish instead of removing it, that's the problem. Why focus on the clean floors and not the dog-ish that stepped in? Why? T. Jack says, you tried to it right, but he tossed you off. Derek says, 99% of us were sold by Africans. They did not want us. I have been to Africa and they did not care about us. If we were there, we would have been slaves there. Logan says, y'all leave Jess alone. It was just academic for her. Shout out to Jacob Tubal. I think it's our service is slow. Oh, there goes. Okay. Hakeem says, sing Nikki, trouble will be done. For the trouble will be done. King G says, you were not sold. Y'all have been indoctrinated with the history of the slave masters. Empire says, look up America, being the latest and most accurate description of the New World by John Ogilvy, 1671. The natives look like you. King G says, the slave master came as missionaries. The agreement was to transfer people to work, get knowledge, and return to Africa. Africans were tricks. Shout out to everybody that sent the super chats. We do appreciate you guys every Monday with us. Make sure you hit the like button. And if you are interested in coming to the panel, you got to DM me an IG. But fellas, let me tell you this. It is a long wait. So please be patient. Please do not double message me, fellas, if you've already been on the panel. Okay? Because I'm trying to put the other guys on here. But let's go into the last topic that we have going on. Okay? It kind of flows with what we're talking about already. So let me move this comment. But let's watch this.
If you offer me a job and I find out my manager, my direct supervisor is going to be a minority, babe, keep that DEI hire and keep that job offer too. I prefer to work under white men, okay? White, middle-aged, men with a family, AARP eligible, the ones that got the AAA, the ones that eat off the IHOP 55 plus menu, you know what I mean? The Medicare eligible ones, give me that. Give me that. Because as far as I'm concerned, the minorities, they like to make you pay back the dues that they had to pay in 1987 when they first got their job as the model minority. And they want to make sure that you have to do it too. Meanwhile, white man, he sees me, he goes, yep, let me give you this special project. What do you need? What's going to advance your career? How can I help you? None of the passive aggressiveness, none of the micromanaging, none of that extra shit, right? Give me Jim, Bob, Bill, give me that. Don't give me the minority, because as far as I'm concerned, anybody that looks like me or identifies as somebody who would be a DEI hire, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not with it. I'm not with it. Y'all got a chip on y'all shoulder that I personally do not have the brain power to deal with. So as far as I'm concerned, hand me to the nearest white man. Thank you.
Woo, man. Do Black people have a chip on their shoulder when they're in higher up positions?
Yeah.
I can't say that. I can't say that's
wouldn't say.
Who disagrees with her first? Aaliyah, you go first, because I think you gotta go.
I wouldn't say it is chip on the shoulder because Black women feel like we endure all of this. Like we have to be strong and perpetual victims and everything like that. So I mean it is a chip because we're not approachable and our resting face and everything of that nature. So it's just yeah, I've experienced a Black supervisor and what she said wasn't so far off. So yeah, I think so. I don't know.
I don't think
Yeah,
so. I have been moved through rooms by multiple different type of people, including Black people, because that's what I'm mostly in proximity of. But I don't know. I can't agree with that completely because I've just worked but I'm around I'm in a liberal city. I'm right here. Most of the people that are around me, most of the people I'm cool with, a lot of my friends, they are liberal and they Black liberal women, men. So I don't know. I've had white men, white women. Well, no, the white woman did micromanage. That was annoying. But other than her, the majority of my experiences just kind of been, it was, for me, I don't look at stuff like that. I'm just always trying to make sure I'm doing what I need to do and be better so I can move forward. So I don't want to give people a reason. And if some people are just people, but as far as the white and Black thing, I can't really say I've had that experience because I've had wonderful Black women and white men and everybody kind of moved me to where I'm at now.
Yeah. For me, I don't think it's a race thing. I would just say it's like a gender thing. Like I've always preferred male supervisors and bosses over female supervisors and bosses. Just because I see, at least in my opinion, like, and I work in the medical field, I feel like women are very, like Nikki was saying, very micromanaging, very passive aggressive. But I feel like I've had better experiences with male managers, male superiors. They just seem to like, I don't know, like take what you say into consideration. They're more about like the no nonsense when it comes to like drama and shutting down like cattiness, in my opinion. So I would just say like men in general, not just like white men.
Yeah, I can agree with that as well. I think I agree that it is a gender thing. Like it is more like women versus in comparison to men, because like I've had like white women supervisors and it's like the same thing as, if it was, a black woman. So I definitely think it is like women, like when women are in places of authority, I feel like, we have to, or I feel like women try harder to like show, like, show that they have authority. So they like try to make it like, oh yeah, I have this authority, I have this power, this is my position. And they try harder, I guess, than, they try harder to like show that they have that power than, I guess, men. I think it's easier for men to just be in these positions, and I feel like women make it harder on ourselves in those type of
And also,
positions.
I just thought about it. I was a boss to people, so I wasn't like that. So, but
I think
from
there's some. I
top,
think she's valid in
How do you
certain.
know?
Go ahead.
huh?
How do you
Because
know?
they loved it, because they've always told me, and for me, that was actually my first time in that supervisory role, so I understood how to treat people. I've always understood that, so I didn't want to micromanage because I don't have time for that. If I hired you for what I hired you for. And even with me, I actually went into a place where the girl had been there for about 3 years and applied for the job, but I got the job. But
What?
we ended up
What?
being really, good friends. So it was okay. I don't think so. I've never gotten any complaints. People came back to me to get jobs. Like I said, I tried to manage a work family balance. I don't carry a grudge or an attitude. So that's just not me. I'm always trying to be a light in a dark place.
Well, I think
Unless
in
I'm
my
not.
experience, I've had it's not always negative with my black employers, but it always they reacted to me more emotional. Like I've always got, they've treated me more like a friend and not in a beneficial way. Either I've been told, oh, can I pay you on this date? Because I know you, or can you come in or do something on off the clock, but still, work for me, but not get paid, different things like that. But I feel like a lot of situations with black employers is that they have a sense of, I worked hard to get here, and so I need you to work hard to be here, type of thing.
King, you don't got direct deposit?
I was just about to say, what industry is
No,
that?
Because
well,
I'm
I
I'm in the
do, I do a
transition.
lot. So I do a lot of independent work. My work, I don't work in a 9 to 5. So I'm just talking about in my arena and stuff. So.
Okay.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I think another aspect of this is because it's a gender thing. I think one thing the men have to actually be cautious to how they act and how they interact with women. And then I think on the women's side, sometimes they understand the game. So when the women try to play the game, they don't want to put up with it, or they're just not going to take the stuff that the men would normally back off on because of that the difference in gender. I mean, I think that could be an aspect of it.
I think rhetoric like that is part of the problem. And hear me out before y'all come jumping down my throat, right? Um, I think it's a people issue, not necessarily tied to a race and not tied to a gender. I've had great black supervisors. I've had horrible black supervisors. I've had great white supervisors. I've had horrible white supervisors. It's a people thing. And I will say this: this is part of the reason why I lead with grace, especially as it relates to people, because I know how it feels to be boxed in based off of how you show up. And this is why I say that sometimes Black women just can't be. I could literally be thinking about clouds and rainbows and my face might look like this. And now I'm unapproachable. And it's like, bro, you're making assumptions about me. You don't know me. I could be thinking about something completely different. I don't have any attitude. I don't have any of that, but you'll just see me thinking and assume that I have an attitude, and people leave with that. So now that dictates how you treat me, how you perceive me. Now I'm a supervisor who you can't come to. I'm not approachable. So this is why I lead and show grace. If I'm dealing with a supervisor who may be a certain way, you know what? I chalk it up. That could just be how they are, or maybe that's just their temperament, or maybe they could be having a bad day. But I don't automatically assume these things about them. So I absolutely did not like what the girl was saying. But then also, Shorty, who had the red on, she also added to the rhetoric of like how certain people show up in spaces and why people get perceived the way that they get perceived. Like, I think that's absolutely wrong.
Now, remember when we had that conversation? You remember when we had the conversation? We had this conversation. I think one of our first conversations about the rest.
I'll also say this because I don't go around slanging my credentials or anything around, but I've had very high positions. I've also supervised. I've also hired. So when I do, I have to be super cognizant of how I'm seen, and I have to be palatable because
that's okay. That's just what I was going to say.
I'm already.
Sometimes that resting bitch face is just not even cute, and we have to be intentional. And even if you at work, you're almost playing a role.
It's not realistic to go around walking like this all the time.
Well, no, it's not that.
That's not
it's
realistic. It's either this, or I'm like,
you got to practice a pleasant face.
Yeah,
but it's the thing. But like,
because the resting bitch face ain't given like a lot of us think it's given. I'm telling you, especially the older we get. Like,
it doesn't matter
my
what
resting bitch
about.
face is gone. I have to figure out another pleasant face because the resting bitch face is dead. It's over. I'm too old for it. So you have to intentionally be pleasant. Keep trying to figure it out. I used to model. We got trained on facial expressions and all of those good things.
But why should Black women have to do that?
You don't have to, because once you like, you want to learn how to say you want to stop cussing, you have to intentionally stop doing that. So any type of negative behavior, something that might perceive you, especially if we want this husband and this baby we trying to get out of you, we have to have a pleasant face. We have to practice these things. We have to practice everything that we've been talking about. It's not going to be easy. It's a process.
Yeah. So are these classes that white women got to take too? Or is it just Black?
I don't know if I don't care about no darn white people. I'm talking about our people and our pleasant people.
We're making this toward Black women. Yes, only Black women have to work on their face.
Their face is way older than ours, way ahead of time. I'm not talking about that.
So
I'm talking about us.
There's so much.
They resting bitch face. They think that's just what it is. And I'm sorry. I know I love you, my dear white people, but that's just what it is.
And I mean, if they, I just think it's funny. Like we always got to go ahead and just hurry up and throw in like what another culture is doing in order to do regular stuff. Like if we know we the ones that have the issue with that face and being pleasant or coming off pleasant, it doesn't matter what we're thinking about. Like how you look, are you approachable? Just like we're not going to be approaching some, white guy that looks weird or like a creeper that he, kidnaps people. Like we put those things in our head, like we're not going to go past by that person because of how they look. So it's like, it's common sense. It's just common sense.
I also just wanted to add to that point just about like, you were saying like it's like it's like not normal, I guess, or to see somebody just like, happy-go-lucky, smiling all the time as a woman. But
that's not what I said. I said walking around like this 24/7 isn't normal.
Is that not happy-go-lucky?
You had extra seasoning on there that I ain't put.
Okay, well, is that not happy-go-lucky? I'm confused.
No, that's not synonymous with happy-go-lucky. Walking around like this doesn't mean
Okay, well, I don't
You gotta
understand the
learn how to
face. I'm just trying to
smize.
put a word. Basically, I'm trying to put a word to the face that you gave, but I'll
Which
put a
is the
word to the
face.
face that you gave. So smiling all the time is basically seen as something that is unattainable. But in my opinion, that right there, that rhetoric, especially from Black women, is something that I face. I'm a very, happy, bubbly, I'm always smiling person. And I never, until I moved to a predominantly Black space, had never heard, oh my God, why you smiling all the time? Why you so happy all the time? What you got to smile about? That only came from Black women. And so to hear you say that like in real time, like as if it's like a goal that we shouldn't have, it's like there's nothing wrong with
Add
being
what I added.
super,
Add that.
uppity or upbeat and things like that.
I
And
didn't add.
that's exactly what they tell you. Like, because I was the same way. They'll be like, "Oh my God, you're weird. Like, why are you smiling all the time? That's weird." Like, that makes them uncomfortable to
Yeah,
see
and
someone
it
actually.
and it affects you negatively if you are that type of person, because then it's like, damn, so I like, again, to your point, you might be perceived a certain type of way. And I'm not saying that I've never been, had white coworkers be like, oh, Cameron made me feel a certain type of way or something like that, but that is not everybody's overall POV of me. If you ask a majority of people, that's not what they would say. But if you ask majority of people what they would say about you in that sense, like, is that always how you present yourself, or is that just a one-off? To your point, like, obviously I think we should take into consideration if someone's just having an off day, but if you're always having an RBF every single day, if your normal mannerism to just sitting is okay, I'm going to assume you're not a very happy person. I don't think that's me insinuating anything negative. I think you're showing me you don't usually smile. You're not really.
Oh, you just said that you assuming, so that you're that's not
Well, I'm
tomorrow.
saying, is it a real
But
assumption
nobody's
if it's
gonna.
something that you're putting out on a regular basis? Like, obviously, yes, if you're having a bad day, if someone's having a bad day, yeah, I might come into work one day and not want to talk and might, be off. But that's not my displacement every single day. If you would ask somebody how I am every single day, it would be Cameron's always super uppity. She's always smiling. She's like always happy go lucky. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think people have those type of viewpoints of us on an everyday basis if that's not how we're presenting ourselves every day.
And if anything, just to add to what Cam is saying, if anything, that's gonna generate more questions like, what's wrong with her? Is she okay? And nobody's gonna want to directly ask you, like, Jess, are you okay? Like, because a lot of times if women get that question, are you okay? They start crying. So it's like people don't want to get into your business or nothing like that. They be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not talking to Jess. She look like she got something going on. Let me go over there to Jim. Let me go over there to Becky. Let me go over there to Sally. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Y'all
just what it is. But if you're smiling all the time, nobody has any questions. And it doesn't matter what's going on
I
at
do. Do your
home or anything like that. Nobody's really like, oh, Cam, are you okay? You're smiling. Oh my God. Like,
Like,
unless it's something
yes.
abnormal.
Like,
So
when I
it's
tell
like,
you, I come into work and if I ever have a down face or something looks wrong with me, everybody, management, whoever, literally, as soon as I walk in, Cameron, are you okay? Has your day been all right? Are you okay? Because every day hey, how's everybody doing? Y'all have a great day. This is me just every day with anybody. It's, not even just at work, just in my everyday life. And not to say that, you have to change yourself to be that person. But I do think that if you want that more palatable thing that you were speaking on, I don't think it has to come from an angle of being fake and being happy all the time. I think you should genuinely just be that happy person.
In certain industries, you're gonna have to be that way. Like,
yes.
like, looks matters. Like, we can't, in certain industries, looks matters. They're gonna hire you because you look a certain way, you present yourself a certain way, you speak a certain way, and it's gonna get you far, especially if you're in the sales industry. Like, no person wants to deal with someone in sales or a client when you have a resting bee face and you're really not nice, like, to talk to, or even homely to talk to. And in certain industries, yeah, you might have to put on a little fake facade around certain people, and I will do it. Hello, yes, put the happy smile.
It's going to get you further along.
How are you? If I want a discount, if I'm going up to the airlines, I don't pay for a seat, and I'm thinking, okay, which person's going to be sitting next to the window? I want to look who looks the happiest and the nicest to where they're going to sit me where I want to sit. And I'm gonna go towards that person, and they're gonna send me where I want to sit.
And I'm gonna use my femininity to do it.
I think a bigger picture of this is ultimately just taking criticism and being able to apply it to improve your overall life. Like just earlier, I think part of the thing I have an issue with is I have thoughts and they all come in my head at once and I try to get it all out. So, people in the chat are saying, slow down. Anton saying, slow down. That's something you take in consideration and you apply it. And just to be able to communicate and interact with people, I'm not offended to it because it's the truth. Like, I know it's the truth. This is something I know about myself. I reflect on it and I try to apply it. I'm not going to say, like, oh, you're just stupid for saying it. You just got to kind of take in consideration to the people that are around you.
Yeah. And it's not saying you always gotta like the whole smile. No, you can smile without even showing your teeth, with your eyes, like with how your presence is. So it's just no, Jess, don't do that because you look weird as hell.
But I did what you said though, Q.
No,
I ain't doing it right.
Never
mind.
You trying too much. Like you see,
you gotta smile.
No,
it's
why
like
you doing that? No, Jess.
No, girl, you just being silly.
Just sit there with a little smirk, smile with
Why,
your eyes.
why we can't just be honest and admit that Black women supervisors are the worst?
Why do you think they're the worst?
Because they're not the worst, Anton.
I was the best.
Black women supervisors are the
but there are some
worst.
bad ones of other races.
Why do you think so?
Because they just, first of all, I think that they're more competitive towards other Black women. It's not even towards the men. I think that it's more or less towards women than it is to men. And I think that women, in a lot of default settings, Black women, they tend to see each other as competition. They don't see each other as, when you get into a corporate environment, when you get to a certain level, usually you'll have mentorship. You'll have people focused on trying to promote you, to make you better. They work with you to ensure that you are more successful. They ask you what your goals are, right? They usually have a bi-weekly with you. I have heard so many women that have complained about their female supervisors. They don't do that with their white male supervisors. They just don't.
You want to know what's crazy, Anton? I actually saw a video that countered what that lady said. And she said, the reason why, and this isn't my sentiment, I'm just give y'all a synopsis of it. Do you know why you have that interaction with that white man or that white supervisor that you do? Is because they don't see you as a competition. They don't see you as competitive.
How would she know? I've seen that video too. How would she know?
I don't know. Ask her. I'm just saying, like,
but she's just talking. She's never been in a position of power.
I was like, okay, I could kind of, different
That's not why.
on that.
I've had a white male supervisor that has helped me significantly in my journey. Probably the single most important person that has helped me to be successful in corporate America. And he was just real with me. It's the honest to God truth. Like, I was kind of running in the Victim Olympics and I was kind of pouting at home a little bit. And he pulled me to the side and he said, Anton, go get this book called Diplomacy by Henry Kissinger. And then I need you to do this, this, and this. And we're going to have a conversation. And I had to go home, change my attitude. And what I realized is that when I made him look good, he made me look good. And so his goal for me, ultimately, after I got my attitude right, was to replace himself with me. And what he taught me, one of the things that he taught me was the best supervisors are not ones that's trying to manage you. The best supervisors are the ones that's actually trying to figure out how they can empower you so they can replace themselves. And that's what enables them to be able to get to the next level. And he taught me so much about, attitude, cultural fit, because I was already, I was good at my job, but that's not the thing that gets you promoted. And that's what most people got to figure out. It's not about how good you are at your job. It's about whether or not you actually can make people like you and you a cultural fit and if they believe in you as a leader. And it's a lot of other factors that go into that. And he had to teach me that, but he didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to do anything. He was already going to be on his way. And so, it was really helpful. And it wasn't an agenda. He was just being real with me. And I think that a lot of women, especially in corporate America, they get their feelings involved instead of removing their emotions so that they can get to the point to where they can be more successful. So what I found is that when you find a female supervisor, a lot of time, especially a black supervisor, don't matter what industry, don't matter if it's corporate, don't matter if it's retail or whatever, they tend to be a lot more emotional and volatile. And boy, don't you get on her bad side, because that chick will turn into the bitch from hell, and you just gonna have to find another job at that point. Because
So,
they
Anton,
black women, honestly, and I'm gonna be honest with you, in corporate America, they are unforgiving. If they rock with you, they'll rock with you, but they cannot remove their bias. They can't be objective. And I don't, it is what it is. But if you get on a black woman's bad side, it's over. Find another job, dog.
I agree 100%, and I definitely think I again I don't want to say it's all black female supervisors, but just in my opinion, just primarily female supervisors. I also think too is because they at least like when it's woman to woman, they try and build this like relatability type of relationship with you, but then the moment that you like insert professionalism or they break that barrier, whatever happens, it's like that's when they come at you, because it's like they start off their at least in my opinion, majority start off the management trying to be a friend, trying to be like that safe space, that open space, but we don't get that with our male supervisors. Like, like a female supervisor, she might give you her cell phone number and tell her that you can reach out to her after hours if you need something or something like that. But like the male boss will literally tell you like, no, it's like work hours are work hours, unless it's like a complete emergency. Conversations are strictly professional. So I do just see like, at least with women too, they kind of break that professionalism barrier and kind of make it more of like a friend or like a less casual superior relationship sometimes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
And I also found out that they tend to get more easily offended because it's almost like they feel like they got to prove that they're on the same level as everybody else. And that's where a lot of times you get that whole, you know, we had to work harder than everybody. No, he was just a little bit more unruly. Um, and you don't see a lot of black female supervisors in the really profitable spaces. You don't see them in tech. You don't see them in banking. You don't see them in those areas. And it's a reason, because I believe it's because they can't get their attitudes together. And so they tend to go more towards service based roles, retail roles. Even if they do find themselves in a tech space, it'll be in something that's not tech related inside of a tech company. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you'll find black women, this is the honest to God truth. You'll find black women in the diversity, equity, and inclusion office. They were heading up the diversity, equity, and inclusion division. They'll be the diversity, equity, inclusion coordinator at some university, or they'll be at some government fucking job. That's just the
And my
honest
resume,
to
that's not
God truth. They always have the same positions. They always in HR. They always in diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they always in something related to that. They don't win in sales. Sales is a place where you got to have people skills. You got to learn how to network effectively, all of that stuff. They don't win in tech. They're never the direct supervisor in tech. Now, you will see some Indian women in that space. You don't see a lot of white women as supervisors in similar places that you see black women. You see white women supervisors in some of the same places as black women. But it's usually Asian men, white men, those type of guys. They tend to go get the MBAs. They tend to go and level up. They tend to do that type of stuff. So it's always the same thing. It's always usually the same thing. So it's
Well,
it's interesting. I find it interesting that y'all think that working for women is fun. I don't even think having a woman pastor is fun. So
I don't agree with that either.
Said it was fun. Now, I
Nah,
definitely
like
don't
Sarah
agree with
Jacobs.
women leading churches or ain't no. No, not no.
I
I
mean,
know
No.
pastors.
No.
They're
only
doing.
men can lead churches, but
No.
Pastor John got 5 mistresses, 6 kids.
Oh, not
He
John
be
And
cheating
you
Gray.
on
know
First
what
Lady
the worst part
Joan.
about black women that
Pastor
become
John
successful.
Gray.
Black women, not even that become successful. Black women that hold these positions a lot of times. Oh, they look like shit.
But
They just look like
Anton,
shit.
the male pastor's been messing up for years, though.
That's
Cheating.
what
No,
I'm
hold on,
saying. You
hold on,
can't
hold on.
even
Before we
your
get to the
your
church part, black women that is in corporate America that get to any level, whether they're in HR or whatever, oh, they keep them a fupa. They always hair is not right. Like they got that stiff ass hair. They just look like shit. You
You
could
think
tell.
it's because they focused on their career or couldn't date it or anything, so they was able to just focus on climbing that ladder because nobody wanted them?
I don't know what's wrong with them. They eat a lot. I don't know if it's stress eat or what. It's the truth. It's the truth. I don't know what's wrong with them,
I
but
think the biggest thing is that you can't really say it's like you don't want to have that fight. You don't want to have the conflicts. I think a lot of people just a lot of times in those environments don't say nothing. They just avoid it. So then they just keep doing the bad behavior and nobody can really check them without feeling like some issue is going to come up.
if you see a black woman that's coming up to you in corporate America, chances are, nigga, you about to get fired. Either you getting fired or you about to get on a PIP. You're gonna be on a performance improvement plan,
Wait.
or you getting
Speaking of
fired.
black women in those positions, how about what's her name? Jean Pierre, the old secretary.
Oh, the press
She switched
conference?
over to Republican. So sad.
No, so-called independent, so she could sell her book.
Yeah, she called herself independent.
You about to get
She's Republican.
fired,
And
or
it,
you going on a PIP,
They
big
had
dog.
they had her up there on that pedestal telling all the lies
Now
in the work.
I will tell you a position that black women hold, and they fight for it, and they
Not
hold on
baby
to those
mama hood.
positions for a long time. Is you can always find a good old black woman in an executive secretary role. They love being executive secretaries. Black women love being executive secretaries. They hold that position for dear life, and they do really well at it.
That
They,
and
I
they
have
don't be
nursing.
known a lot of
smiling
black
when you
women
walk
that have
up.
been executive secretaries. That's the honest to God truth.
They don't be smiling.
Look, they hold nurses too, but I mean, they're not too pleasant with that either.
So,
They do,
Jess,
and
can
they
you?
and
So,
they
when you
they
go to
just
a majority of places and you see a black woman like at the desk or whatever, are you generally saying that she's or like smiling and pleasant, or if you saw somebody else, you'd be like, "I'm gonna go to her." Like when you just pictured your everyday life and you walking into these buildings, you see them at the desk, the DMV, all these places.
I'm
Are
glad you
those
asked
pleasant
that.
faces? Are those happy faces that you're looking at?
I'm glad you asked that because I check my bias at the door. And what I'm saying is if I'm going into a situation like that, I have an assumption of nothingness, right? Because it's easy for me to just put that assumption on that woman saying, oh, her face, she's not like this. So clearly she got an attitude when the whole time she could be thinking about what she finna eat for dinner. So
But
when
she
I
at
go
work and
straight to
that's
So
the
bad
point,
customer
every black
service.
it doesn't
woman
deter
thinking
me
about
from
dinner
going
on
to
her
her because
mind.
she's not smiling, right?
I
I
hate bad
check my
customer
bias at the
service.
door and I say, what is that rooted in? Is that rooted in something that she's genuinely like displaying or she genuinely did something to me? Or am I making incorrect assumption based on what I think she might be feeling? Now I'll go like gauge our
That's
conversation.
so
It'll
hostile.
give me more from there, but I don't have an
That's so
assumption either
hostile.
way. And it don't deter me from going to her because she's not smiling.
Just,
I've
you
never
know,
seen like
It's
I have
so
I'm
never
being
funny
seen
completely
because
honest, y'all.
she
y'all
don't use
so
the same
fucking hostile.
metrics. She don't use them same metrics whenever you talking about white folks. I'm sorry.
Yes,
You
I
can
No,
do.
know
And
it.
the same what kills me about you, Kamaya, is you seem to think that I have such this disdain for white people. I'm not sure where you get that from because I don't get on this panel and talk
Go listen to
about
your conversations. You
Kamaya.
can
You
go back on the
need to.
videos.
Oh
It's
my
on
gosh,
record.
you
It's
got to
on
stop.
record. It's literally on record. You could go back after this.
I
You
have
got
yet
plenty
have
of
gotten
time.
love. Did I strike a
You got plenty
nerve?
of time. Just go listen to yourself. Have
Did
you
I?
ever
But is
went
it
back and listened to yourself?
isn't body language?
Okay?
Isn't it
Are you
body language
okay?
like
Like
80% of your speech or something like that, of your talk, whatever? So if body language represents a lot of your communication, then if you have a resting bitch face and you look like that, then 9 out of 10 times it's gonna be an attitude that comes behind it. Because if you're
not,
pleasant
but that's an
and you're
assumption,
if you're
King. That
pleasant,
I
but if you're
don't make
pleasant in
that.
your everyday life, if you're pleasant, then you should look pleasant, right? Because your body should emulate the pleasantry that you're feeling, right? So a pleasant person doesn't look mad or doesn't have a resting bitch face if they're having a pleasant day.
That's
If
their
I'm thinking
regular
about
face,
food,
King. How you gonna tell somebody they regular just face, just
No,
with all of
listen,
their
listen,
facial
listen. Hold
muscles
on, hold on, hold
relaxed?
on, Jess. Let me help you. Let me help you, Jess. Let me help you, Jess. I'm gonna throw you an alley. Most of them is going through perimenopause.
All right, Anton, you was gonna throw your alley.
No,
That wasn't the one. That wasn't the I was
Seriously.
looking for. You
No,
could have that one.
seriously. They be having like they always got some level of depression, postpartum, perimenopause. I don't know what it is. I honestly, and now I'm being serious. A lot of y'all be going through that age where y'all have y'all insides taken out. And am I wrong? Am I off?
Yes, you
that's
are.
I just
crazy.
want to know, Jess, like,
So
why
wait a
are
minute. So
not?
y'all don't be getting y'all insides taken out?
Ow.
They
We
do. They
do, but it's just
sometimes
funny that
taken
you be
out.
knowing this stuff, and it's hilarious that you just come out and
And
say the
some of
things
these
that you
How
say.
don't I know it?
I don't know, but
Jess?
I'm
and some of
surrounded
these
by
I
women
females
just I just
every
wanna
day. I talk to women all the time.
and they
And they
bipolar
all
as
be
F. Like, come on
bipolar.
now.
They all bipolar. They all got their insides all out and
And a little
in.
bit of autistic.
They got their insides out and in. Um, they all crazy. Black women are crazy. And I don't know what's wrong with y'all. And y'all need help. And y'all honest. And you don't need help from don't go to no more therapists. Y'all therapist is over for y'all. Don't go to no more
They're
goddamn
not
therapist.
going to therapists. That's why they need to go. They need help.
No, not from a therapist.
y'all woke.
Listen,
Don't send them to
listen,
no
let me tell you
therapist.
something. Let me tell you something.
Molly, I love you, Molly. I love
Stop
you.
picking your own solutions.
do
If
she
you
love you
knew
though?
better, you wouldn't be in therapy. You can't
I
pick
don't care. I
the
can love
person
whoever
that's
I
going
want
to
to, Jess.
hold
That's
on,
how love
Carmine.
goes. I can share all my love, baby.
Hold on, Carmine. Y'all can't pick if you listen, if you retarded, you can't pick the thing that you think is gonna fix you because you don't know better. You see what I'm saying? Like, how you gonna pick the person to fix you when you don't even know what's wrong with you?
Anton, retarded is not a word that should be used.
Says who? I knew a whole bunch of retarded
It's
kids
not
back in school.
correct.
In room 9, I knew a whole bunch of kids. Helmets, short buses. Some of them always wore football jerseys, but they had the whole pads in there. I knew chicks. Let me tell you something. They always had that strong strength too. You ever?
And
have
she
you ever?
said she do now.
Have you ever kicked it with the kid? A lot of y'all, that's your baby daddy. But because we had the No Child Left Behind law now, what's basically happened is they mixed us all together. So now you think that these guys are normal. No, he was supposed to be in the slow kids class, but they passed him along. Y'all celebrated him. Shout out to little man and them. Nigga always had that extra strength on him. Y'all know who he is. Everybody got him in their family. Y'all got baby daddies by him. Then you keep wondering why your kids is cross-eyed. Keep saying that he got ADHD and he autistic. No, he is slow. You have a slow child because your lineage is broken. And y'all need to. Anyways, I ain't gonna keep
Just I think the biggest part is you try to give everybody else the lens that you view them as, and that's not how everybody else works. And I think ultimately you got to think how what people see is what they get, and that's how the rest of the world works. It's nice that you think that way and you give people the benefit of the doubt, but that's not how everybody else works.
You understand me, Devin. I appreciate
Wait,
it.
is retarded not a word that's in a dictionary?
Retarded is a word, but it's not politically correct.
It comes from
Wait,
retarded.
it's a word that's in a dictionary, but I can't use it.
It's a derivative.
I like to say retard.
I just
wait. Why can't I use a word that's in a dictionary? It's not slang.
It's a connotation. That's like calling a gay person a fag.
He is.
No, that's not the same. It's not the same at all. So when did we change the word? What is it? What are they? Where did it come from? Where is it now then?
What you mean?
What is
a person who has a learning disability, a person who, I mean, there's so many different other words you can use outside of retarded.
What is it? So if you see a person that's slow and they're a little slower than usual, what do you put them? What do you label them as?
A person who
they say mental illness now. They have a mental illness, or
anybody can have a mental illness. We got to be more specific. What would you say that they are?
They have a learning disability, or they have delayed learning, or they.
That's what I'm saying. Mental illness is all put together. It's just
mental illness is the same thing as having a learning disability. That's not synonymous. They
let me tell you, just
what are they?
What are they?
Let me tell you. We had specific ways to label them back then. What are they now? Because y'all ain't giving me nothing.
Just say the person has a learning
developmentally challenged.
They put everything under autistic.
Why that gotta sound so professional?
It's special needs. So when I do my paperwork for my clients,
needs. Thank you, Nikki.
When they come, but I'm gonna tell you the catchphrase, how they lumped it all together, how they cipher their money, and how they getting all these people. When I fill out this paperwork and I put the data in, it's under special needs. Do you know everything from drug addiction, development, mental disability, chronic illness, all that is under disability. Like a mental thing is all
that's
under
what I'm
there.
saying.
They got
you got to be
all under disability. But they don't want to separate it because that's how they
retarded is
mental defense.
I would say retarded would be mental illness.
No, I'm looking at the definition. I'm looking at the verb and the adjective. The adjective says less advanced in mental, physical, or social development than usual for one's age. All right, that's the first one. The verb is delay or hold back in terms of progress, development, or accomplishment. So how am I using it in the wrong context?
It's not the wrong context. It's just not the most politically correct word, which meaning there's other words that can describe what you're trying to describe, which means it could be seen as a negative connotation. Basically.
I feel like we all have negative connotations.
See,
well, you know, it's one of the things. Like it was, I'm telling you, it's all the woke people changed it long time ago, and we said we should not say retard, and we have to say mental illness.
So if y'all need more examples of that, you instead of saying that person is homeless, you could say they're suffering from housing insecurity.
Yeah, but that's
if you're homeless.
That
person is a fag, you would say that person identifies.
No,
bro.
Ain't nobody finna say all them words.
Wait.
Instead of
ain't
saying
nobody finna say all them words.
You say they're indigenous.
Wait. You're telling me
hell no.
To say homeless is offensive now too?
They have a whole thing.
So
that's not offensive.
Can I say something real quick before we go far off the point real quick? I just want to say, Devin, when you were saying commending Jess for basically saying, her giving the benefit of doubt to people, I don't think it's giving the benefit of the doubt when, again, to King's point, this is what you're physically giving off to people. Like the whole point was identifying if this is how she always is or if this is her just having a happenstance moment. But again, this is like a human thing. We would all assume somebody that is smiling and inviting is just a happy, inviting person, not,
I think you missed my point. All I was saying is she has a perception that everybody thinks the way she thinks, which is she gives them the benefit of the doubt, so she would hope that they give her the benefit of the doubt. And I was telling her that was not correct. That you got to think that what people are going to get from you is what they see. They're not going to do the mental gymnastics to think extra outside of the box of what they actually see.
Right, but I don't think that's okay. Maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, but I didn't get that from that.
Okay. Anybody else? Before we
is
one more thing. And this is why diversity, equity, and inclusion is so important, because it gives you other words. So
They the
like
way started it. They the one started this mess.
So that's what I'm saying. I wanted to give y'all other examples of like different words and how it's compared. You know what I'm saying? Like instead of a lot of people call Indians Indians. The correct term is indigenous. A lot of indigenous people don't like to be called Indians.
Can I ask y'all a question? So I guess people know where I'm at now. So I live in STL, right? And I heard I don't even know what else to call it. So our Chinese food, where we go to eat China, we call it Chinaman. Nobody cares. But I went out of town and somebody said that was offensive. But the Chinamen don't care, or the Chinese. I don't even know if they care if we call them. But that's
the word. That's offensive. It's something else. It's not Chinaman. It's something else.
So I can't call them what they are. They men and they from China.
It's another word.
When we say we're going. No, when we say, if we're talking about we say, go get me some Chinaman. Go to the Chinaman.
I think that might just be a geographical thing, because I think
I don't think it's offensive.
No, I don't think it's offensive, because like I said, I think everybody says some type of word that may be deemed as offensive to somebody else, and we just all use it a different way. Again, we say the N-word.
I can say some real stuff about it.
Now we don't even know if they know. We don't know if they think it's offensive.
Anton.
Y'all want me to tell you how we?
No.
DEI mess y'all up.
Let me tell you what I call them when they piss me off.
Super chat. No.
Okay.
Super chat. Joel says, Kim, I love you. Come on, you're amazing. I don't know. Says Jess needs to stop supporting the SAS hairline. Tell says, depends on the type of person. You gave a weak person power and they will abuse their authority. Timothy says, Kamaya, you're attractive. Joaquin says, Cam is correct. It's more a gender thing than a race thing. In fact, the majority of both men and women prefer male bosses over female bosses. The problem is that female bosses are much more likely to cause workplace drama. Patricia says, I was born in Jamaica, came here 12 years old, became a citizen of the United States at 21, and I'm proud to be called an American. Mike says, yes, the woman in the video was on fire. Most of the liberal resume is mostly victimhood experience based. Count on DEI to hire Dusty. A.R. Smitty says, why are you so happy all the time? It's crazy. My 2 cents says, both ends of my mouth point down like an upside down U, but feel cheerful and absolutely happy. And I'm not gaslighting you. Jaquin says, I get what Jess is saying, but there are certain jobs that require you at least pretend you like the job. You don't have to be upbeat all the time, but Black women do perpetrate the RBF stereotype. BZE says, Jess, if you had a husband and you asked him if he loved you, if he said yes, but his eyebrows are pointed down, would his face expression not matter then? That's a good point. Jaquin says, Alan Galq is correct. Perception is everything when it comes to employers and their clientele. You have to at least want to be there. Mike says, I can see Jess in the movie Smiley. The main character just smile to people before devastating factors take place. Jaquin says, I wouldn't say Black female supervisors are the worst, but female supervisors in general. I agree with Anton that Black women in higher positions make it harder for other Black women. Jason says, let's just be honest. 80% of Black women are angry and bitter. They don't want to see anybody happy. They wish they would catch their boyfriend happy or smiling. It's going to be some furniture moving. Jaquin says, Anton is cooking. The true red pill when it comes to work is being likable. They tell you that you don't have to be liked and you have to work hard, but they eventually get rid of those people. And Dalen again says, Anton, women are a paycheck hazard in the workplace. Jack says, body language makes up most of the communication, but hey, keep pretending your face isn't saying everything. Shaking my head. Timothy says, Henry Kissinger's diplomacy. Just ordered it, Anton. Shout out to Accountable Masculinity University for the $4.99 ball. Oh, sorry, they came. Jaquin says, 98% of the people I work with are women, so I gotta keep my head on the swivel no matter what. Eris Smitty says, they look like Queen Latifah from Living Single. Tuggy says, Anton versus 100 Black women. Who winning that? Corey P says, Fannie Willis at the top, getting bust down by a menace to society. Shaking my head. Mike BK said, that's why women in psychology are the worst. Their direction will lead men to a dead-end road. CEO, boss women keep listening to the same song, Only the Lonely. Now I understand their desire. Thank you, Accountable again. Dalen says, when I enter a place and a sister is in charge, I leave. Hoffman says, Carrie, praying for Anton again. Jess is Nigerian. Prince says, Jess looks beautiful today and can come back anytime. Mr. Magic says, the word says, count it all joy. If you don't like what you do, quit. Leave the attitude at home. Dave says, it's intellectually disabled. Hoffenham says, just don't look mean. High calorie days are over. Nita May says, Carmaya, why you stay coming for Jess? Obsessed. DJ Ace Production says, if that's the case, I'm going to call Fat People Gravity Challenge. Mike BK says, again, Jess, you are so subjective with words. Why is it so hard to say the word if it's already defined? Please be objective and not stick to your feelings or how society dictates. Corey says, my folks say ling ling. Dylan says, Kamaya, love her stomach, just a child. Quiet Face says, the more we try to dress up language and terminology, the more we normalize lying. Tell says, smile, Miss Sanchez. Shout out to everybody in the super chats. Thank you for your super chats. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit the like button before you leave. But before you leave, let's have the people on the panel shout out where you can find them, where you can stalk them, and where you can follow the other social media platforms. Go ahead. Who's first? Go ahead, King.
What's going on? You can just follow me everywhere. The Royal Couch. That's DAROYALCOUCH. That's everything. The Royal Couch.
Okay. Erica, where should the people follow you at? If you want them to follow you.
My name _ Miss Sanchez 25.
Okay. Cam.
Hey y'all. My Instagram is just Cam from the Valley.
Okay. Carmaya.
Peace, y'all. It's Carmaya She on Instagram and TikTok. And I love coming for Jess because she be loud and wrong. So, oh well.
Jess.
I'm going to be the bigger person and ignore that comment. And you can follow me at It's Me Gorgeous on all platforms. Not too much on the forehead because I look good regardless and better than. All right, go ahead, Devin.
My name is Devin. You can follow me on Instagram if you want. I don't do too much social media, but if you do want to follow something I support, is Buffton Prime on YouTube. Pretty much a football channel where we break down football and we follow the Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders and stuff like that. So if that's what you're into, follow Buffton Prime on YouTube.
Okay. Nikki.
I am Nikki Green. You can follow me on YouTube, my YouTube channel at Just a Brown Girl in America. And if you're in for a more lighthearted feel of politics and social issues, YouTube and then TikTok is where I kind of make it a little lighthearted. So come subscribe. I'll be there.
And you'll be telling the folks you be singing. I had to find that out.
That's a hobby. That's a hobby.
Nikki be singing, y'all, and I found it out not too long ago.
Nikki be singing, y'all. Go tune into everybody on the platform of social media.
If that's on my Instagram, so my Instagram is Nikki Green 25, and I do have like a karaoke hobby page that I upload all my karaoke days and nights on there.
Okay. Make sure you tune in. I might not be here next week, y'all. So if you're interested in the panel, please be patient with me. And man, if you've already been on, don't message me again because I'm trying to have new men on here. But shout out to everybody. Thank you for joining. Till next time. Adios, you guys. Bye.